Chapter 585. Jiang Zhao was still thinking about this even after he fell asleep. He wondered if he should give Yi Er an X-ray or something like that until Yi Er sneaked onto the bed beside him and hugged him. Damn it! He was afraid of touching her, so he slept on the bed beside her. In the end, she wasn't afraid at all. She even hugged him. The bed is small, and the two of us take up too much space. We can't sleep well. You can sleep over there. She was a patient, so his voice should be as gentle as possible. No, I want to sleep like this. Yi Er stubbornly believed that a husband and wife should not sleep in separate beds. However, Yi Er's medicine contained some sedative Western medicine, so it was especially easy for her to get sleepy. Once she fell asleep, it was as though she was dead. The next morning, Jiang Zhao still had to put up a sturdy little tent around his crotch. Yi Er woke up and mumbled, "Hey, why didn't you give me a morning kiss today? Did you forget? Don't you have to go to work?" Jiang Zhao sighed. "I'm still asleep, aren't I?" But it wasn't a solution if he couldn't remember. If he continued to sleep like this, there would be problems. Perhaps it was because they hadn't had sex for more than 20 days, so the little tent made Jiang Zhao feel very awkward. After kissing Yi Er, he turned around and got off the bed. His back was still facing Yi Er. When he reached the end of the bed, he even walked sideways into the bathroom like a crab. He immediately locked the door and took a cold shower. Jiang Zhao was a calculative person. Ever since he was born, the word calculative had never disappeared from his life. In the past, when Yi Er wasn't awake, he had to go to work. Now that Yi Er was awake, he was even more in the mood to work. However, Shi Yunwa's appearance yesterday put him on guard. Yi Er's personality was a little strange now. She wasn't as easy to deal with as before. Even if she was easy to deal with, he didn't dare to casually force her. He also didn't dare to bite her until she had a high fever and was hospitalized like last time. He couldn't do it the hard way, but he couldn't bring himself to do it the soft way. What if Shi Yunwu really seduced her with meat today? He suspected that her IQ had returned to that of a 2- or 3-year-old. At least, that was what he thought yesterday. After Jiang Zhao finished showering, he asked Yi Er to wash her face and brush her teeth while he waited for the servants to deliver breakfast. Today, he wanted to eat with her. While Yi Er was in the bathroom, Jiang Zhao went to look for the caregivers and nurses. He told them that they had to take good care of his wife today. He reminded his wife not to eat meat and that it would be best to make the consequences sound serious. Even so, Jiang Zhao was still worried. Qing Su woke up before Yi Er. Because her lungs were seriously injured, she couldn't get out of bed and run around like Yi Er. When Jiang Zhao appeared in Qing Su's room, Min Hongsheng had just left. Qing Su was sitting on the bed with her back against the headboard pillow. She was playing Plants vs. Zombies on her iPad. Jiang Zhao sat down beside Qing Su's bed. "Qing Su, are you feeling better?" Qing Su logged out of the game. Her face still had some baby fat, but when she smiled, the two beautiful dimples on her cheeks looked very sweet. She nodded. "I'm much better. Where's older sister Yi Er?" Jiang Zhao knew that Qing Su was very different from Min Zikai. At least, Qing Su was innocent. Even if she wasn't, the fact that she dared to chase after the criminals for Yi Er's sake showed that she had a good relationship with Yi Er. Handing this mission to Qing Su should be able to succeed. She's much better now. She can get out of bed now. I'll ask her to come and play with you later, okay? Really? That's great. I was just thinking that it was boring to sleep in the hospital every day. But you guys better not eat meat secretly. Last night, my heart softened and I gave her a piece. She vomited until she was a mess. I can take supplements now. It shouldn't be a problem to eat some meat, right? Jiang Zhao also knew that it was not right to lie to a 17-year-old girl like this, but his wife's sovereignty was a big issue. Other moral principles could be set aside. If he had nothing to do and stayed here every day, it would be fine, but he still had to feed his family, right? She'll probably be able to eat tonight. Wait until I get off work. She just vomited yesterday, so I don't dare to take the risk. Qing Su's attitude towards Jiang Zhao was completely different from her attitude towards family Min. If Min Zikai saw this, he would probably vomit blood in anger. That's true. It seems that her stomach is quite weak. It's okay. Ask her to come and find me, or I can go and find her. I'll ask her to come and find you. Your lungs haven't fully recovered yet. If you move around too much, it'll be troublesome. After she has breakfast, I'll ask her to come over. Jiang Zhao continued to be shameless. After careful consideration, he felt that it was useless to just remind her. It was better to let Yi Er play with Qing Su all the time. Even if Shi Yunwu came, he would not be able to find Yi Er. Naturally, he would ask the nurse to bring Qing Su's medicine and change the bedding. Oh right, he also reminded the nurse not to reveal Yi Er's whereabouts to the public. With someone accompanying her, Qing Su was naturally happy. She nodded happily. Okay. The moment Jiang Zhao stepped out of Qing Su's ward, he immediately put away his humble and friendly expression and smirked evilly. When he entered Yi Er's ward, his mother was already setting up breakfast. Yi Er was sitting at the table, waiting to eat porridge. Jiang Zhao walked over and sat down at the table to the left of Yi Er. He took the chopsticks from his mother and said, "Thank you, Auntie Li." His mother smiled and said, "What are you thanking me for? You guys eat first. I'll clean up later." With that, she walked out of the room. Yi Er picked up a piece of dried radish for Jiang Zhao. "Luo, this is your favorite. Have you finished all the dried radish at home? If you have, I'll ask the kitchen to get some more when we go back to Grandpa's house. Also, I haven't eaten breakfast at home for a while." "Jiang Zhao, am I seriously ill? I asked just now and found out that I've been asleep for more than 20 days. Dad and Si Jia must be worried, right?" Jiang Zhao tightened his grip on his chopsticks. He was unhappy, but he also found it ridiculous that he would be jealous of his father-in-law and Si Jia. It was only human nature. He had been worried that his father-in-law would not be able to take the agitation due to his old age, so he did not allow him to come over to keep watch at night. Moreover, his father-in-law had been hospitalized because of a myocardial infarction. If he were to collapse, this family would not have peace. Because of this, he had even applied for leave from Si Jia's school and asked the driver to send Si Jia home every day. She knew that her father-in-law and Si Jia would be worried, but did she not know that he would be worried? She felt a little stifled. She was thinking about the bigger picture and did not want to argue. "Dad and the others are fine. You're not seriously ill either. You're fine now, but..." Yi Er asked, "But what?" Jiang Zhao said, "You were in a car accident. Do you still remember what happened?" Yi Er lowered her head. "Yeah, I went to buy crabs and was taken away. After that, a lot of things happened. It was a little chaotic. It was so chaotic that she did not want to piece it together." Yi Er instinctively rejected the thought of remembering what happened back then. Every time she recalled it, it would feel like she was experiencing it all again. She knew that she had died once, so after she woke up, she was especially concerned about the feeling of being alive. Since she was alive, she did not want to think about the past that made her feel worse than death. For example, the blood that covered her face, the disappointment and despair that attacked her again and again. She knew that she had been kidnapped, but she refused to think about what happened after she got into the car. She even wanted to get rid of all these memories. Getting rid of the things that made her sad and painful was the meaning of being alive. Jiang Zhao saw that Yi Er's eyes were dark and gloomy. She had a lot on her mind. Should he not mention it? If he did not mention it, how could he let her go to Qing Su's place? He gritted his teeth and felt that he was being too cruel. Yi Er, if it wasn't for Qing Su blocking the car of the person who kidnapped you and even ramming her car into it, you wouldn't have been in a coma for 20 days. Lulu. Yi Er was stunned. The person who had chased after her car that day was not Min Zikai, but Qing Su. It was actually Qing Su. She did not want to think about it at first, but there was someone who told her that one should not be ungrateful. After that, her memories started to come back to her. Qing Su, the fiery red cayenne, and the fresh green willow branches appeared in her mind. After that, her memories started to piece together. As she pieced them together, her shoulders started to tremble. Her whole body was shaking, and her tears fell like rain. Her voice was weak and broken. I know. If it wasn't for Lulu, I would have been chopped into minced meat and fed to the fish. She was terrified. At that time, she was terrified. Even now, when she thought about it, she still could not escape that feeling. There were some things that made one's legs weak when they were experiencing it, but after experiencing it, one's spirit would be shattered. Jiang Zhao suddenly regretted it. He wished that she was still a little silly like yesterday. Chopped into minced meat and fed to the fish. Would she be threatened and frightened like this? To think that he did not think that there was any change in her after she woke up. Just one sentence from him was enough to agitate her to this extent. He quickly put down the chopsticks in his hand and moved the stool over to sit beside Yi Er. Jiang Zhao stretched out his arm and hugged Yi Er's shaky shoulders. Yun Yi, don't cry. Everything is fine now. Everything is fine. Where's Lulu? Yi Er felt even more upset. She thought to herself that since she woke up yesterday, she had been so heartless that she did not ask about the person who saved her because she refused to remember anything. She was already so seriously injured and had been in a coma for 20 days. Then what about Qing Su? Was it even more serious? Jiang Zhao listened to Yi Er sniffling non-stop and thought to himself that he should take the day off so that she would not be agitated. However, Yi Er continued to ask, I know that there was a car that kept chasing after the car that kidnapped me that day, but I didn't know it was her. I thought it was Min Zikai. My car crashed really hard and I even hit my head against the car that kidnapped me a few times. I know everything. I can feel it. Yi Er covered her face. Tears flowed out between her fingers and her sobs sounded a little suppressed. She's fine. Jiang Zhao said against his will. He hugged Yi Er even tighter. Should he get her a psychiatrist? The difference in her mood from yesterday was too great. It was so great that he couldn't recover from the fact that she had used all sorts of methods to get him to eat meat yesterday. Ah Zhao. Yi Er reached out to cover her face and hugged Jiang Zhao. She sank into his embrace. Don't lie to me. When I was in the car, I heard that man curse a few times. F***CK, do you want to die? There's no way she'll get better. Ah Zhao, tell me. Yi Er started to suspect that there was something she didn't want to recall. Ah Zhao? It sounded so natural to call her that. It sounded so heartfelt. Hadn't she been using him all this time? Hadn't she been trying to please him against her will? Songshu 566. Chapter 586. Jiang Zhao hesitated again and again. If he didn't tell her, she would definitely be upset. Qing Su was an optimistic girl, as though nothing was a big deal to her. If Yi Er saw Qing Su's current state, she would definitely feel less guilty. She's staying next door. She woke up before you. Yi Er looked up at Jiang Zhao. Really? Then I'll go and see her. I don't know if she'll blame me for not visiting her until now. She won't blame you. You just woke up too. Jiang Zhao rubbed Yi Er's little face. The more he rubbed it, the softer his heart felt, just like her face. Okay, I'll tell the nurse later to inject your medicine. You can play with Qing Su until I get off work. She's bored too, so I went over to see her playing Plants vs. Zombies. I'll bring 2 computers over later, and you can play games together. Sure. Since I can't be discharged, it's good to have company. Lulu and I have quite a lot of fun. Jiang Zhao sighed. After the two of them finished eating, Jiang Zhao arranged for Yi Er to be sent to the room next door. He even told the nurses not to reveal his wife's whereabouts to the public. Qing Su was indeed a very optimistic girl. When Yi Er asked her how she was, she laughed and said, "Ha, what do you mean by how I'm doing? I'm already fine. Didn't I just hit my chest on the steering wheel and a rib pierced my lung? It's already been pulled out. I think I'll be able to be discharged in a few days." When Yi Er heard this, she was so agitated that her face turned pale. What? A rib pierced her lung? How weak was the lung? She actually laughed and said, "Lulu." Yi Er sat on the bed with the bedding changed. Her computer was placed on the table beside the bed. She had just turned it on when the music started playing. However, her voice was not as smooth as the background music of the computer, and it was trembling. "Lulu, you actually suffered such a serious injury." Yi Er could not continue playing the game. She was only unconscious and scared, but Qing Su's ribs were broken and her lungs were injured. Jiang Zhao lied to her that Qing Su was fine, and Qing Su herself said she was fine. When Qing Su saw Yi Er biting her lip and about to cry, she spat in her heart. Didn't Jiang Zhao tell Yi Er? Did she say too much? Good heavens! Yun Yi! How did you become like this? You're always crying. I can't stand you. Did you become a resentful woman after you got married? Is that why you pee all the time? What horse pee? Yi Er was still feeling sad when he realized that the person he was sad about was looking down on him. Horse pee. She was shedding tears. Qing Su was a girl who had been swindling and cheating with her mother since she was young. Although she had stayed in the Min family for a few years, she still spoke some rascally words. Yi Er was stunned. She wanted to laugh out loud, but she was afraid that it would hurt her lungs, so she could only chuckle. Don't you know that if you cry too much, it will become urine? And it's horse pee. It's really big. Do you know about horses? It's really big. Yi Er was touched, sad, upset, and guilty. All of her negative emotions were suppressed after Qing Su said that her tears were horse pee. She could not cry in front of Jiang Zhao anymore. If she cried too much, it would be pee. Qing Su sat on her bed. Just like Yi Er, the computer that Jiang Zhao brought over was placed on the table in front of her. She raised her head and glanced at Yi Er's computer. Come on, let's play 2 rounds. Let's play. LOL is a game from Tencent, League of Legends LOL, haha. Ouyang Yan was sitting in Jiang Zhao's office. Jiang Zhao was handling official business. Ouyang Yan was sitting on the sofa in the reception area, quietly reading the newspaper. She seemed to be very patient. But from time to time, she would raise her wrist to look at her watch, revealing her mood. Jiang Zhao approved the documents and pressed the secretary line once. Lu Cheng, come in. Get someone to send the documents to the 7th floor. He hung up the phone and opened another file. It was as if Ouyang Yan was not even sitting in the office. Ouyang Yan did not mind, but she would occasionally knock on the coffee cup to make a little noise. She wanted to attract Jiang Zhao's attention, but she did not want him to think that she was the one who spoke first. Jiang Zhao lowered his head. His eyes moved quickly through the open file. He spun the pen in his hand quickly, swapping the position of the tip of the pen and the end of the pen. The end of the pen stopped at the key point in his eyes. He tapped it again and again, as if he was thinking about something. Ouyang Yan could not help but sigh. Jiang Zhao's voice was heard. Yun Yun, don't you have to go to work today? Ouyang Yan was delighted. She looked up and saw that Jiang Zhao was still buried in the file. She bit her lip, stood up, and sat opposite him. After all, he was the one who spoke first. It would be better to find a suitable position to talk. I applied for leave. Applied for leave? The Shin Hospital is very open-minded. You allow people to apply for leave so easily. Jiang Zhao asked 2 questions, but he did not raise his head to look at Ouyang Yan. Ouyang Yan had always been dressed plainly. Because of her good condition, she was like a lotus from clear water, a natural carving. There was no need for her to chase after fashion. It was precisely because her beauty was natural and refined that her expression and actions had always been like that of a fairy. It was even more so in front of Jiang Zhao. She wanted to be angry, but she forcefully suppressed her anger. I want to talk to you about something. Go ahead. Jiang Zhao said lightly. Do you hate me here? Ouyang Yan exhaled and said this gently. Jiang Zhao looked up and smiled. You actually came here to talk to me about this? The next time I see your Dean Shen, I have to have a good talk with him about the attendance of civil servants. This won't do. He can't mess around with the party building. Last time, he wanted to find trouble with me. Looks like I can take revenge. Ouyang Yan was a little angry at the beginning, but now she was furious. Jiang Zhao clearly knew that Shen Kai had pursued her in university. Now, he actually mentioned this person without any ill feelings. She had always been arrogant. She bit her lips and did not voice out her dissatisfaction. At least, she felt that now was not the time. I'm here to talk to you about Yun Hongwei. I think you should do something about it. Jiang Zhao put down his pen, leaned back, and smiled. Because several of Yun Hongwei's cases are related to your family Ouyang, right? During the tsunami, almost all of the pineapples were bought out and later sold to a mahogany furniture manufacturer at a high price. But the loan was approved by your uncle. Also, Yun Hongwei's case in 2003 was obviously going to blow up, but it was suppressed by the provincial TV station head through his connections. And for the station head to be promoted, your father contributed a lot. Jiang Zhao. You actually know about it. Ouyang Yan's face changed. You know about it, but you only care about me now. Beauty Novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 587. Pretentious. Jiang Zhao smiled. Yun, since the Ouyang family is also involved in this matter, why do I have to take care of it alone? Ouyang Yan was stunned. What do you mean? Are you saying that you don't want to take care of it? It's better to deal with this matter impartially. In my position, I can't bend the law for personal gain even if it's my father, let alone my father-in-law, right? We both graduated from law school. Don't tell me that Yun doesn't understand this principle. If Yun Hongwei goes in, Yun Yu will blame you. Does it matter? She's my wife. If her father is innocent, he naturally won't go in. But if he uses unorthodox means and gets in, will this account be blamed on me? What is this? Logic? Are you determined not to take care of it? The law has its own fair place. If we destroy this fairness artificially, it's unfair to the people, isn't it? Ouyang Yan held her forehead. Her dignified and reserved manner was about to be exhausted. The recording pen in her bag was still running. She didn't expect that nothing useful would be recorded. She had always thought that Jiang Zhao didn't guard against her. At least, as long as she didn't mention his marriage and Yun Ye's feelings for her, he still had a special kind of feelings for her. Second brother, someone wants to make a big deal out of this matter. If you help Yun Hongwei, you'll also help me. Ouyang Yan spoke softly. The title, second brother, had always belonged to her. Even when they were intimate lovers, she still called him that. Every time she saw him, she tried to use this title to tell him that they had a past, and a glorious past. Jiang Zhao glanced at the electronic sensor under the table and shook his head. Yun, the innocent will be cleared of this matter. No one can help each other. Go back early. After Ouyang Yan left for a while, Jiang Zhao remained silent. How serious was the situation? That was why the Ouyang Yan tried to record some of his words to threaten him. Who was the one causing trouble recently? He did not know if he would still be in the mood to return to Jiang District to hold the wedding banquet. Jiang Zhao had called Yun Hongwei last night to tell him that Yi Er had woken up. Yun Hongwei had originally planned to visit Yi Er early in the morning. Later, Jiang Zhao called and said that Yi Er was staying in the ward next door today. He would call him when he went over. She received a call from Yun Hongwei, saying that they had arrived at the hospital. Yesterday, she forgot to ask about the ward next door. Jiang Zhao said that it was on the right side. When Yun Hongwei found Yi Er, there were 3 people in the room: Yi Er, Qing Su, and Un Wu. Yi Er felt that she had lost 2 rounds to Qing Su. The main reason was that she had slept a little longer than Qing Su and her brain had not been trained. Un Wu saw that Yi Er was a little unconvinced. In front of Qing Su, he did not speak to Yi Er in a doting tone. Instead, he spoke in a light tone like a friend. Then wait until your brain is better before playing. Qing Su shook her head proudly. Un Wu, why don't we play a few rounds? How about that? Sure, but I'm not skilled. You have to give in to me. Qing Su burst into laughter. Aren't you embarrassed? As a man, you should ask a woman to give in to you. How dare you say that? Aren't you embarrassed? Un Wu glanced at Yi Er and shrugged at Qing Su, who was smiling. What's the matter? You guys are so fierce, so I can't be fierce. Besides, I've never played before. If you don't give in to me, even if you win, you won't have any face. Yun Wu's words were indeed useful to the 17-year-old Qing Su. Fine, let's play. I'll give in to you. Go and create a team. When Un Wu was playing the game, Yi Er was very close to him. She thought that she could guide him, but she did not expect a man to be so sensitive to games. Perhaps it was not that Un Wu did not know how to play. Yun Hongwei knocked on the door and heard the girl inside shout impatiently, "Come in." When he entered the door, he saw that the 3 of them were engrossed in the game. Un Wu and Yi Er sat on the same bed. The table was not big, so the 2 of them were quite close. Yi Er was engrossed in the game and was already kneeling beside Un Wu. She bent her elbow and did not mind supporting herself on Yun Wu's shoulder. This way, she was much higher than Yun Wu's head. Un Wu, why are you so good? Are you trying to avenge me? Ha! Yun Wu's mouse and keyboard worked well together. Feeling the beauty relying on him, he was in an exceptionally good mood. He did not mean to step back into her life. It was Jiang Zhao who did not know how to take care of her. It was she who suddenly became close to him, as if they had never left Wutong Street. He really wanted to hurry to the beginning of the summer and get a bicycle. He would ride the bicycle while she would sit behind. They would go and drink tea that cost 10 yuan and could be refilled endlessly. Un Wu laughed. Yes, I'll take revenge for you. No one can touch you. Un Wu himself did not notice it. When he said this, he was clearly smiling. Qing Su and Yun Hongwei, who had just entered, were shocked by the domineering tone in his words. Yi Er did not notice anything strange. She had known Un Wu for too long. He could transform from a fallen painter to a rich young master. What else could he not say? Yun Hongwei saw Yi Er leaning on a man's shoulder without any taboo. He coughed. Yi Er looked up. When she saw Yun Hongwei, she chuckled. Dad, why are you here? I thought it was a nurse. Un Wu could not stop now. Yi Er wanted him to win, but out of courtesy, he had to greet Yun Hongwei. He quickly looked up and smiled warmly. Hello, Uncle Yun. When Yun Hongwei saw Yun Wu's warm and clean smile, he suddenly felt that he was overthinking things. But why was Yi Er treating him like this? It was just like 20 days ago at home. Didn't she know how much Dad missed her? If it weren't for the fact that she needed to rest after she woke up, he would have come over last night. He was also afraid that Jiang Zhao would say that he was worried for nothing. In fact, he was very afraid of putting pressure on Jiang Zhao. Yi Er, come over here. It's not good to bully Un Wu like this. It's okay, Uncle Yun. Yi Er just wants to have a good time. She's lost too many times. She's pinned her hopes on me. She's just hoping that I can win one round. She's not bullying me. Eunwoo naturally did not want Yi-er to leave him just because of a few words from Yoon Hongwei. This kind of happiness was practically stolen. However, Ching-soo was unhappy. As she operated the mouse and keyboard, she said in an impatient and rebellious tone, "Uncle Yoon, don't be so annoying, young man. It's just a game. My dad has never cared about how many rounds I play. Yi-er is already married, so there's no need to be so strict with her. It's not like she's an elementary school student who doesn't have self-control and is afraid of being addicted to the internet, right? We're having fun right now." When Ching-soo said this, she did not even raise her head. However, it immediately made Yoon Hongwei feel embarrassed. In the past, he also did not care about Yi-er. Young people should have some fun. However, Yi-er was married, and the person she married was not an ordinary man. It was Jiang Zhao, a man with a political background. How could she put her arm around another male friend's shoulder like this? "Yi-er, are you feeling better? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere?" Yoon Hongwei had never been able to get angry, especially towards his children. When he said this, he had already walked to Yi-er's side. He took her hand and squeezed it in the palm of his hand. In the past, he was also there during the day. Other than accompanying Si Jia at home during the weekend, he would also hold her hand like this. However, now her hand was clearly much warmer. Without the cold liquid, it was indeed much better. Yi-er knelt a little straighter. She turned around and hugged Yoon Hongwei's neck. "Dad, I'm much better. Don't worry. Don't keep thinking about me all the time. Didn't I just sleep for a few days?" In Yi-er's own consciousness, she did not sleep for long. It was just that something happened before she went to sleep. When she woke up, her husband was by her side. The next day, her father came over. Eunwoo felt the pressure on his shoulders suddenly disappear. His heart suddenly felt empty, and all his thoughts were gone. Yoon Hongwei saw Yi-er hugging him, so he quickly carried Yi-er up to prevent her from continuing to get close to Eunwoo. Yi-er's hearty laughter filled the room. Ching-soo turned her head and happened to see the warm interaction between the father and daughter. Her eyebrows suddenly straightened and darkened. The layout and decoration of the house were the same as Yi-er's ward. Yoon Hongwei carried Yi-er to the table by the window and asked her some trivial things. Yi-er told Yoon Hongwei about the meat incident yesterday. Yi-er was very regretful that Eunwoo did not bring her meat today. He brought her a vegetarian chicken. Vegetarian chicken was clearly tofu, but he insisted on calling it vegetarian chicken. However, Yoonwoo's clear eyes told her that this was his first time buying takeout. He did not know that vegetarian chicken was tofu and not a real chicken. In fact, Eunwoo had been conflicted about this matter for a long time. A patient who had just started eating could not eat meat. At least, he had to wait until tonight. However, he did not want to disappoint Yi-er, so he told a white lie. Ching-soo was completely attracted by the interaction between Yi-er and Yoon Hongwei. Yi-er's smile told everyone that she was happy. The game could not continue. Whether it was Ching-soo or Eunwoo, both of them seemed to have reached a tacit agreement to stop the war and withdraw. Eunwoo was a likable boy, especially when he took off his suit and put on casual clothes. He was clean, elegant, and beautiful. As long as he was willing to smile at you, he could definitely buy you over. Ching-soo felt that with Eunwoo and Yi-er here, it was much livelier. However, Yoon Hongwei was an elder. If he was her father, it would be fine. However, he was Yi-er's father. If she treated Yoon Hongwei like how she treated Min Hongsheng, Yi-er would definitely think that she was uneducated. In fact, she knew everything. In the end, she asked the nurse for 2 sets of poker cards and suggested that the 4 of them play double Q. Eunwoo said that they would draw lots and he would deal the cards. In the end, he and Yi-er were opponents, while Yoon Hongwei and Ching-soo were opponents. As it was too boring to stay in the hospital, they also suggested gambling. Although the stakes were not very high, it could still arouse people's enthusiasm. Unwoo was always able to control the tides and not let anyone feel bored because they kept losing. Jiang Zhao rushed to the hospital after work. After knocking on the door and entering the room, he saw Yi Er holding a poker card and angrily reaching out to hit Unwoo. This kind of play was too intimate. Add, Xinwu 799. Chapter 588. Yun Hongwei smiled knowingly. Be careful when you go downstairs. Although the doctor said that you're fine, you're still under observation. I'll eat and go back slowly. Don't worry about me. Yi Er took out the gloves and scarf that Jiang Zhao had prepared for her from the wardrobe. Okay, Dad, call me when you get home. Okay. Go quickly. Yi Er left the inpatient department and left a voicemail message for Jiang Zhao to ask where he was. Her intuition told her that he had gone to the north of the city. She did not receive a reply, so she walked all the way to the north of the city, hoping that she could wait for a message while walking. She also wanted to deny that he had gone to the north of the city. The private hospital was not in a prime location. It was relatively remote, but the environment was very good. In summer, the trees were lush and cool. In winter, although Yi Er had withered and only branches were left, it still looked very lively under the street lights. In winter, there was often a thick fog at night in Haicheng. One could not see everything around them clearly. They relied on the street lights to connect the sidewalks to guide the pedestrians. After a few text messages, Yi Er quickly took 2 deep breaths. In the thick fog, her breath seemed even clearer and heavier. She covered her ears with her gloved hands and rubbed them. She stomped her feet on the spot and took out her phone. She saw the name, my husband, on the envelope. Ha, he changed it himself, right? What husband? She quickly took off her gloves. The moment she came out of the warm gloves, she touched the phone screen. It was cold. There were 2 words, seductive charm. Seductive charm. Jiang Zhao had gone to seductive charm. If he wanted to drink, he might as well go to Peerless Beauty. After all, that kind of place was confidential and the environment was good. It was suitable for someone of his status. Oh right, there were many women in seductive charm. Yi Er bit her lip and wanted to slap herself. Yesterday, her nerves had short-circuited and would not be short-circuited forever. She had to beat herself back to her original state in a few hours. What did he mean by being so straightforward with her? Did he tell her not to be nosy, or did he say that she did not have the right to ask? Even if she did not have the right, she had to ask, right? Anyway, he should not have any objections if she pretended to ask casually, right? Anyway, he had always been so arrogant. Even if he went to Ouyang Yan's place, he would still let Ouyang Yan answer the phone. As if there were people around, her slightly flat almond-shaped eyes looked around alertly. Hey, which room are you playing in? I might have an acquaintance there, so I can give you a discount. He coughed to encourage himself and pretended that he had nothing to do. After replying, he looked at the foggy night sky and looked left and right at the cars coming and going, hoping that there would be a taxi with a green light on the roof that flashed the words, empty. He stood at the intersection and reached out to hail a taxi. His hand was a little cold, so he retracted it and rubbed it. He felt that it was all bones. He didn't know if Jiang Zhao would say that he didn't feel anything when he touched it. When he saw a car coming from diagonally opposite, he quickly stretched out his hand and shouted, "Taxi! Taxi!" The taxi turned left and turned around. When it stopped beside Yi Er chuckled in relief. He shrunk his neck, opened the back seat door, and got in. "Master, sorry to trouble you." The driver took countless young people to various bars every day. Okay. The driver asked for Yi Er's opinion. At this time, the roads with fewer people were not congested, but they had to take a detour. The roads that didn't take a detour were now congested. Yi Er said, "If you want to take a detour, then so be it." With cars, he really didn't know if a 5-minute drive would take 50 minutes. When the car arrived outside Charming Club, she received a message from Jiang Zhao. It was a distant message. "Thank you, 3:16. After paying the taxi, Yi-er felt a little dizzy as soon as he got out of the car. Firstly, he had been hospitalized for a long time and his body had not fully recovered. Secondly, the air conditioner was on in the car, so it was stuffy. She stood at the door and breathed for a while. She let down her ponytail and placed it beside her face. When she lowered her head, her face couldn't be seen clearly. She also adjusted her scarf and pulled it up high, only revealing her eyes. After entering Charming Club, she said to the waiter wearing a golden vest, "I have an appointment." 3:16. The waiter led Yi-er through all kinds of people. Yi-er looked at the men and women who brushed past her and sized her up as if she was a monster. It was winter outside. Inside, she was wearing hot pants, a short skirt, and a camisole. Her outfit was clearly a monster among monsters. Outside the private room 316, the waiter gently knocked on the door and pushed it open to lead Yi-er in. The private room was not big, and the extravagance of the decoration was not at the same level as that of Peerless Beauty. It was a little more high-end than the mass-produced karaoke. The sofa was black leather, but it was unknown whether it was real leather or PU. Jiang Zhao's suit and sweater when he arrived at the hospital that night had been thrown away somewhere. A woman was sitting next to him. It was Ouyang Yen. She was talking to Jiang Zhao about something. The weather outside was cold. Ouyang Yen had probably taken off her jacket. She was wearing an OL houndstooth dress with 9/4 sleeves. It was not a sexy style. In fact, it was very conservative. The length of the dress was above her knees. However, the cut was very close to her body, and it wrapped around her good figure. Yi-er, who had slept for more than 20 days, had lost some weight. The clothes she wore before looked a little empty. Yi-er thought to herself that she had not had time to dress up after leaving the house in a hurry. She had really made a fool of herself. Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Yen did not avoid suspicion and lowered their heads to talk. They were very congenial. He felt like an outsider. Jiang Zhao looked up and saw Yi-er standing at the door. It would have been better if he did not see her. Once he saw her, he was full of anger. He did not even want to see her for a few days. He did not expect her to come. It was just that she asked, and he just answered. She even said that he was looking for someone to give him a discount. Who cared? He did not expect her to come looking for him. He was a little happy. But if she really came, he could not be nice to her. He said to Ouyang Yen, "Let's stop here today. Come to my office tomorrow." Ouyang Yen naturally noticed Yi-er. She caught the flames of anger in Jiang Zhao's eyes. She caught the woman standing at the door clenching her fists tightly but not daring to come forward. She caught a series of her lack of confidence. She was caught off guard and gently kissed Jiang Zhao's face. She laughed softly. "It's just a kiss. Your wife won't be jealous, right?" When Jiang Zhao instinctively wanted to avoid it, he caught a glimpse of Yi-er suddenly and deliberately turned her head away. She did not even look in his direction. She wanted to pretend that she did not see anything. He let Ouyang Yen kiss him lightly on his cheek. When Yi-er turned around and thought about the interaction between her and Shi Yunwu, she also gave him a kiss on the cheek. Then, she held Ouyang Yen's arm in a gentlemanly manner and smiled. "I'll send you off." Ouyang Yen was overjoyed and could not calm down. She smiled shyly. "Okay." She ignored Yi-er and walked to a corner of the private room. She took Jiang Zhao's coat and sweater from the wooden clothes rack. She took the sweater and handed it to Jiang Zhao. Yi-er did not hear Jiang Zhao whisper to Ouyang Yen, "I'll send you off." Her intuition told her that the two of them felt that she had ruined the atmosphere and wanted to find another place to talk. Look at how intimate they were. They even kissed in front of her. Luckily, she had always been immune to it. Anyway, a kiss was not a big deal. At most, she would find an opportunity to kiss them back. She would just take it that Jiang Zhao was bitten by a stray dog. Yi Er saw Ouyang Yan's action of taking Jiang Zhao's coat and thought carefully. Something was wrong. If she continued to stand there, it would not be appropriate for her to act like a wife. Hence, she raised her head and puffed out her chest. Jiang Zhao's sweater to work was a cowl collar. Yi Er was taller than Ouyang Yan. She took the sweater from Jiang Zhao's hand and put it on Jiang Zhao's head. Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Yan were both stunned. Jiang Zhao thought to himself, what is she doing? Why is she still looking for him? Isn't she eager for him to leave? She came looking for him after he left. She even helped him put on his clothes. Humph. Who cares? Yi Er adjusted Jiang Zhao's collar so that it looked more melon. She then pulled the hem of his shirt and said gently, Hubby, I know someone at Seductive Charm. I'll give her a call later and ask her to give us a discount. The money we save can be used to pay for the utility bills. Although we don't lack that money, there's a lot of accumulated water. My dad said that we have to be careful with our spending in a marriage. I don't think we should be disdainful of household expenses like the utility bills. Jiang Zhao almost burst out laughing, but Yi Er didn't find it funny. Laugh? What's there to laugh about? You can't even cry. She didn't even look at Ouyang Yan. She just thought that there was a table beside her and her husband's clothes were on that table. She was just familiar with the position of the table and casually took it. Take it? Forget it, she couldn't take it. There was double-sided tape on the table. She could only pull hard and pull her husband's suit off the table with double-sided tape. She pinched her shoulders and shook them gently. She chanted in her heart, shake off the moldy air, shake off the seductive air, shake off the coquettish air, shake off the Ouyang Yan. Then, she unfolded the collar of the suit and let Jiang Zhao put his hands into the sleeves of the suit. Jiang Zhao's mind was still thinking about those things. After he left, how long did Shi Yunwu stay? It shouldn't have been long. It wasn't too late now. The important thing was, what happened during the day? Other than playing cards? What else did they play? Look at how intimate the two of them were. It was as if they grew up naked together. They didn't even think about their own identities. Jiang Zhao's arms refused to unfold. He refused to cooperate with Yi Er's solicitude. He glared at her and said, Yi Er, what are you doing here? Are you crazy? Yi Er's originally bright and guilty smile crumbled under Jiang Zhao's cold interrogative tone. She was so embarrassed that she couldn't laugh. It was still okay in the past. Jiang Zhao didn't throw a tantrum in front of the Ouyang Yan. Her position as the official wife was still intact. Now, the master was giving the official wife a hard time in front of the concubine. Wouldn't the concubine become arrogant? Wouldn't she ride on top of her head? As expected, Ouyang Yan's extremely gentle smile was exceptionally vicious in Yi Er's eyes. She smiled and said, Second brother, Yi Er is worried about you. She's probably afraid that you'll drink too much outside and affect your health. We didn't drink much today. We're just chatting. Why don't you explain to Yi Er? Jiang Zhao sneered in his heart. Forget it. She was worried about him. She was just worried that he would die or be demoted. He was no longer useful to her. Explain. Why did she need an explanation? As she thought about this, she felt even worse after being analyzed by herself. It was fine if she didn't think about it. The more she thought about it, the more she cared. How did she live when she didn't care about him in the past? She had already forgotten that feeling. She missed it too much. Yi Er also knew that Ouyang Yan's seemingly gentle exterior was burning with determination to fight with her. However, Ouyang Yan was a much more experienced woman. She said good things in front of Jiang Zhao to show her grace and magnanimity. Ouyang Yan had told her this before, so it wasn't strange. She was just experiencing it now. Attention, Xinwu 799. Chapter 589. Look, she was such a considerate, gentle and kind mistress. If she was late, her position with Ouyang Yan might have been swapped. Jiang Zhao might have married Ouyang Yan, and she would be the one living in the north of the city. But Grandpa Deng had said that a white cat or a black cat was a good cat if it caught mice. Although there were many problems after the reform, the gears of history would still move forward. Although she and Jiang Zhao had a lot of conflicts after they got married, her father was right. She knew about the ancient sayings between husband and wife. I'm sick. It's not like you don't know that I'm sick. There seems to be something wrong with my brain. I'm mentally deranged. I am crazy. Yi hated that Jiang Zhao did not leave any leeway for her in front of Ouyang Yan. Although she hated Jiang Zhao, now that she remembered those wishes that she did not want to remember, she could only go through fire and water for those wishes. Anyway, even if I become crazy, I am still Mrs. Jiang. I am still not Mayor Jiang's crazy Mrs. Jiang. So what if you have something to say? Yi looked at Jiang Zhao when she was talking. Her neck was straightened. She had lost a lot of weight, and her neck was slimmer. She looked weak. But you must not look at her eyes. Her eyes were filled with stubbornness and determination. She was still holding the suit in her hand. She looked like she would not put it down if Jiang Zhao did not wear it. In Yi eyes, it was not about wearing the suit or not. This was a status that she wanted to fight for. She could not care less about Jiang Zhao's past. She could not care less about how many women he had in the past. She also could not care less about whether she was in his heart or not. What she wanted now was a status. A status that she must have in front of this arrogant love rival. She had acted coquettishly, acted cute, and acted pitiful. She had already told Jiang Zhao that there was something wrong with her brain. She was afraid that she had lost her brain. If Jiang Zhao was not satisfied with her, did not sympathize with her, and did not pity her, she would never be able to hold her head up high in front of Ouyang Yan. If he couldn't raise his head, it meant that he probably wouldn't have the chance to go to the apartment in the north of the city to snatch her away. Ouyang Yan said that Jiang Zhao didn't drink. They were just chatting and having fun. Jiang Zhao drank a lot at the beginning. He was obviously in a bad mood. The waiter had already cleared the table once, so no one could tell how much he had drunk. They were just chatting, but they were talking about the relationship between Yun Hongwei and the family Ouyang. Ouyang Yan was afraid that the family Ouyang would be implicated because of Yun Hongwei, so he insisted on asking Jiang Zhao out. Jiang Zhao made it clear that he should put away the recording. Ouyang Yan knew that he had exposed himself during the day. He repeatedly promised that he would not play any tricks. Only then did Jiang Zhao come out to meet with Ouyang Yan. They were just chatting. Jiang Zhao thought it was normal, but Yi thought it was ambiguous. This was the Ouyang Yan's ability. He said that just to show Jiang Zhao how good he was at being a peacemaker. In front of Yi he acted as if he and Jiang Zhao were very close. Yi felt that when facing the Ouyang Yan, she had to be stubborn and not turn back. What restraint, what generosity, what rationality, all of it was useless. She could not compare to the Ouyang Yan in any of these things. She could only learn from Xia Qian. She was confused about everything. Everyone thought that there was something wrong with her IQ, but she was still able to live her own life smoothly. She could not compare to the Ouyang Yan in these things, but her skin was thicker than the Ouyang Yan's. She could throw away her integrity. These were things that the Ouyang Yan could not bear to throw away, at least for now. Even if the Ouyang Yan was scheming, he valued his image very much. She, Yun Yi, had nothing to do with it. Things like moral integrity had been completely shattered after pestering Jiang Zhao along the way. Therefore, she could do shameless things, and she could do it. Moreover, her age allowed her to do some shameless things. At this age, it was easy for others to forgive her if she did something stupid. She might even be called cute. At worst, she would be called childish. But if the same thing happened to a 27-year-old woman, people would call her brainless. It's so hot. How do you wear it? Don't you know that there's air conditioning in the private room? Jiang Zhao's voice was slightly cold. This suit, he felt that it was not right to wear it, but it was also not right to not wear it. He had used such a heavy tone to yell at her, but she still insisted that he wear it. She was as stubborn as a bull, and even said that she was mentally ill. He also felt that she was mentally ill, but she was not completely stupid. Thinking about her car accident, he felt very guilty. But he had already said it. How could he take it back? A man who did not keep his words, was he still a man? How could he work? What kind of career could he have? Yi Er felt that she should stop. Jiang Zhao had already given her a way out. The reason why he did not wear it was because the room was too hot. It had nothing to do with anything else. She could not continue arguing. Otherwise, who knew what the Ouyang Yen would do? He folded the suit and put it on his arm. Yi Er was originally standing opposite Jiang Zhao, and the Ouyang Yen was standing on Jiang Zhao's left. At this time, Yi Er squeezed to the left of Jiang Zhao and pushed the Ouyang Yen back. She reached out and held Jiang Zhao's arm. "Hubby, have you eaten dinner?" Jiang Zhao did not push Yi Er away, nor did he care about the Ouyang Yen who had been squeezed behind Yi Er. He sneered coldly and said with a hidden meaning, "Yun Yi Er, are you stupid?" She still knew to ask if he had eaten. At that time, he went to the hospital. It was lunchtime. He left the hospital with a stomach full of anger. How could he eat? Later, the Ouyang Yen asked him to come here and drank a stomach full of wine. Yi Er was glad that Jiang Zhao was willing to pay attention to her. She could take the sarcasm. She felt that it was much better than the cold and fierce words just now. She shrugged and said casually, "Actually, it's hard to say. I'm sometimes stupid, and sometimes not. It's completely automatic. It changes according to the temperature. It's not under my control." Jiang Zhao smacked his lips. "Oh, so you're saying that you don't usually use your brain to control your behavior? Isn't the category of stupid and not stupid controlled by the central brain? Your body. Are you saying that you usually use your body to control the question of whether you're stupid or not?" Yi Er felt that she had been tricked by herself. The reason was that her knowledge was limited. She shouldn't have brought up such a topic that had a lot of variation between words. If she continued to talk about any of the branches, she would be dead. She was obviously no match for Jiang Zhao. "You can't say it like that, then what do you mean? Or are you trying to tell me that you don't have a brain at all? That's why when your body controls your body, there will often be situations where the same poles repel each other. That's why you hit the line. That's why you're stupid." Yi Er was confused by this topic that was getting deeper and deeper. It was becoming more and more illogical. Since she had said something wrong, she might as well change it. Who said that I don't have a brain? Jiang Zhao had drunk too much. The more he said, the more he wanted to laugh. Do people with brains use their body to control whether they're stupid or not? You've heard of clumsy people, but have you heard of stupid people? Alright, I have a brain. Whether I'm stupid or not is controlled by my brain. I can completely control it. This is not an automatic, it's a manual. You use your hands to control your brain. Jiang Zhao. Yi Er felt that she had gone from being dizzy to collapsing. Ouyang Yen bit her lip as she stood between the two of them. She did not know what was the point of this topic. Only a woman with a low IQ would talk about such meaningless topics with a man like Jiang Zhao. The things that she had discussed with Jiang Zhao in the past, a woman like Yun Yi would never be able to get a word in. A woman like Yun Yi was indeed not fit to stand next to Jiang Zhao. The difference between them was really too big. Jiang Zhao was so anxious that Yi Er suddenly stomped her foot and bared her teeth. He laughed a few times. Seeing how anxious she was so anxious that her face was flushed red. She must have felt that she had lost a lot of face. That was why she was acting like this. Did she still know how to be thick-skinned? The three of them stood rooted to the ground. At this moment, Yi Er wanted to change the topic. If she continued talking, she would not be stupid. Her brain would definitely be in a vegetative state by Jiang Zhao. It had completely entered a dormant state and did not need to move at all. She turned around. Zhao has already put on her clothes and is ready to leave. Sister Yan still has an appointment. Are you waiting? We won't disturb you then. Sister Yan, please go ahead. Jiang Zhao suddenly remembered that he wanted to send Ouyang Yan off. He walked around Yi Er before looking at Ouyang Yan. Yun, put on your clothes. Let's go. Yi Er did not manage to swallow her saliva. She was so agitated that she started coughing non-stop. Adulterous couple. It was one thing to scold Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Yan for being adulterous in her heart, but she also had to learn from Ouyang Yan, right? She did not care whether they were going to leave or not. Anyway, she had already lost a lot of face today. She just had to pretend that she did not feel embarrassed. How could she really let the adulterous couple leave? She had just woken up not long ago. Although she could jump around and travel thousands of miles in the cold winter to find her husband, it was a little exaggerated, but art came from life. So what if it was thousands of miles? Didn't the ancients also mess up quantifiers when they wrote poems? At most, she was just inheriting a good tradition. Anyway, Jiang Zhao had already said that it was scary for her to be uncultured. It was normal for her not to know how to count. Even though she could climb up the stairs to the 3rd floor without eating, she was still a patient, wasn't she? This was an undeniable fact that no one could deny. It was normal for a patient to be a little confused. It was pardonable for her to pretend that she did not understand the adulterous relationship between the adulterous couple. Hence, Yi Er held Jiang Zhao even tighter. She leaned her head on his muscular arm, making the two of them look more intimate. She looked at Ouyang Yan and smiled like a virtuous lady. Sister Yan, hurry up and put on your clothes. We're waiting for you. But in her heart, she was scolding. Wait my ass. Hurry up and put on your clothes and go home by yourself. However, she clearly noticed a flash of anger in Ouyang Yan's eyes. Ha, little guy, if you have the ability, don't be angry. Why? Are you blaming me for ruining your good time? Who asked you to ruin my good time? You're right. You ruined my good time, but I'm not allowed to ruin yours. What kind of dream are you having? You must be dreaming. Jiang Zhao did not expect that Yi Er would also want to go. He was just going to send someone off. Besides, he had already agreed. I'll get the designated driver to send you back to the hospital first. Why are you running around outside? Yi Er held Jiang Zhao's arm and leaned on Jiang Zhao. Her voice was soft and gentle. I've been cooped up in the hospital for more than 20 days. I wanted to come out for some fresh air. It's so suffocating. She complained in her heart. Do you think I want to go out for some fresh air? Little girl, I can't even stand properly. You heartless man, don't you know that your wife hasn't recovered yet? Awesome novel, Hungcha 866. Chapter 590. You really? Jiang Zhao held his forehead. He had to think of a way to get her back to the hospital. Looking at Ouyang Yan, who had already gone to get her coat, Jiang Zhao said, I have something to say to Yun. What are you going to do? I can listen in. I won't disturb you. No, her goal was to disturb them. She had to disturb them. Disturb them to the end. She still didn't know what the two of them had done while she was asleep for more than 20 days. Forget it, forget it. She couldn't think about it. Just thinking about it made her want to go crazy. Just treat it as if she had died during those 20 days. Even if she had died, she couldn't ask a man to be a widow for her, right? But wasn't she alive now? No, this wouldn't do. Couldn't he be a widow for her? Although it wasn't appropriate to use widowhood on a man, wasn't equality between men and women now advocated? She couldn't think about it anymore. The more she thought about it, the more she would be driven to a dead end. Listen in. Jiang Zhao thought to himself that it was precisely because he couldn't let her listen in that he stopped talking when she came in. She had just woken up. She didn't care about him, but she cared about Yun Hongwei. If she was stimulated to the point that something happened to her body, it would be his hard days again. Ouyang Yen put on a camel gray light fur coat and carried a simple black bag in her hand. She was really an elegant young lady from a famous family. Looking at the two of them cuddling together, she smiled, "Let's go. I've got my things." In the car park, Jiang Zhao pressed the lock on the car. Yi Er immediately let go of his arm and ran forward. Ouyang Yen wanted her image and liked men to help her open the car door. She didn't care. She had hands and feet, so she could open the car door herself. So, she ran to open the door to the front passenger seat and sat in. She wouldn't give Ouyang Yen the chance to sit next to her husband. Ouyang Yen gritted her teeth. How shameless. The Yun family used to be a rich family. How did they raise such a shameless daughter? Jiang Zhao opened the back door for Ouyang Yen and let her get in. The moment Yi Er touched the chair, she felt as if she was about to collapse. The first floor of Charm Club was a disco with strong music, while the third floor was a private room. Charm Club was a place where young people would spend their money. The decor was more rebellious and trendy, and very few people would take the elevator. Not to mention the fact that it was surrounded, there was no atmosphere. Therefore, when they went to the third floor, a waiter in a golden vest led Yi Er up the stairs. Her body was not in good condition, and the heavy metal music made it difficult for her to breathe. When they reached the third floor, they entered a private room. Charm Color's decoration couldn't be compared to Peerless Beauty's, and the smell inside wasn't as fresh as Peerless Beauty's. The air didn't seem to circulate as well. It was probably because the cost of the oxygen pipeline wasn't on the same level as Peerless Beauty's. Along the way, Yi Er's chest felt stuffy and short of breath. Jiang Zhao got into the car and pulled the door shut. He inserted the key into the keyhole and turned it. While the car was starting and waiting for the car to warm up, Yi Er was already leaning against the seat, seemingly asleep. Seriously? Jiang Zhao rolled his eyes at Yi Er. She was so annoying. He didn't know why she was here. He reached out and touched her forehead. He didn't take off his down jacket because he was afraid that turning on the air conditioner would make her feel too hot. All four car windows were rolled down slightly. After Ouyang Yen got into the car, she habitually took off her jacket. She sniffed and felt that the warmth hadn't returned yet. "Second brother, why didn't you turn on the air conditioner?" Jiang Zhao felt that it was about time for the car to warm up, so he stepped on the accelerator. As he steered the steering wheel, he said, "Yunyi is probably sleepy, so let her sleep for a while. I was afraid that she would feel hot if I turned on the air conditioner, so she wore quite a lot of clothes." As he said this, the car drove out of the parking lot and onto the small road leading out of Charm Color's open-air parking lot. When he saw that Yi Er's breathing had become more even, he remembered that she hadn't put on her seatbelt, so he slammed on the brakes. The car wasn't going very fast, but because Ouyang Yan's body leaned forward, her head hit the back of Jiang Zhao's seat. She cried out in pain. As for Yi Er, because her back was leaning against the seat, she didn't feel much pain. "Second brother, how can you drive like this? There's no car in front. Why did you slam on the brakes?" Ouyang Yen was a gentle Ouyang Yen. Even when she was throwing a tantrum and complaining in front of Jiang Zhao, she was still as gentle as ever. It was just that she was a little annoyed. "I forgot to put on Yi Er's seatbelt. She gave me a fright just now. Just thinking about it makes me feel that it was dangerous." When he found her by the river, she was tied behind her back and wedged between the front and back seats. If she had put on a seatbelt, how could she have been so seriously injured? His heart tightened. He unbuckled his seatbelt, turned sideways, and stretched half of his body into the front passenger seat. His arms were long, so when he unbuckled the seatbelt on the front passenger seat, he didn't touch Yi Er. He carefully pulled it over. The seatbelt slid out of the car door frame with a soft, whoosh sound. He was afraid of waking Yi Er up, so when he pulled the seatbelt out, it was very long. When the seatbelt was in place, it was still very loose on Yi Er's body. After the seatbelt was in place, Jiang Zhao slowly retracted the seatbelt and tightened it. This way, she wouldn't wake up from her sleep. Ouyang Yan watched Jiang Zhao's careful movements and couldn't help but clench her fists. Her fingernails weren't long, but they could still dig into her palms and pierce into her flesh. His heart ached for Yunyi. Was she worried about the heat when the air conditioner was on? Didn't he see that she had already taken off her coat? Second brother, aren't you worried that Yi Er will catch a cold if you don't turn on the air conditioner? Jiang Zhao was stunned. That's right. She slept with her clothes on. What if she caught a cold? Yun Yun, you're really careful and smart. I didn't think of that. As Jiang Zhao answered with a smile, he took off the suit he was wearing. The winter suit was made of high-quality jade, so it should be quite warm. When the suit was draped over Yi Er's body, Ouyang Yan instantly felt irritated. Yunyi was becoming more and more annoying and detestable. Why wasn't she dead? The man who kidnapped Yunyi was simply a piece of trash. Jiang Zhao drove the car with a gap in the car window. Ouyang Yan had already put on her coat. Jiang Zhao felt a little cold, but it didn't matter. From time to time, he reached out to touch Yi Er's face to test her temperature. After a while, he reached out to hold her hand again to test her temperature. Ouyang Yan really wanted to jump out of the car and say that she would take a taxi, but she was still unwilling to give up. Other than being a little older than Yunyi and being a little shorter, how could she not compare to her? Yunyi, this woman, shouldn't be living in this world at all. The Ouyang family was simply at odds with the Ouyang family. It was fine if that old thing Yun Hongwei went to jail himself, but now he wanted to drag his family into the water as well. All of them should be buried alive. The car drove to the apartment in the north of the city. Ouyang Yan got out of the car and slammed the door with a bang. Yi Er was shocked. Jiang Zhao's face immediately darkened and he rolled down the car window. Although his tone wasn't harsh, it was already full of reprimand. Yun Yun, you clearly know that Yunyi is sleeping. Can't you close the door more gently? At this moment, Yi Er was startled awake. The sound of the car door slamming made her very vigilant. When she opened her eyes, Ouyang Yan was standing outside Jiang Zhao's car door, looking a little aggrieved. Yi Er immediately sat up straight. We're here. We're here. Why aren't you continuing to sleep? I opened a few gaps in the window for you. It shouldn't be uncomfortable to sleep, right? Jiang Zhao reached out to straighten the suit that had fallen on Yi Er's lap. He pressed her down onto the seat and placed the suit on her body again. The man said in an unpleasant tone, if you want to sleep, why aren't you sleeping properly? Why are you moving around? Yi Er's heart exploded. What was he trying to do? He told her to sleep here while he went upstairs with Ouyang Yan, who was waiting for him outside the car. This was too much. Yi Er threw Jiang Zhao's suit aside and lost her temper. I'm not sleeping. She didn't care anymore. She couldn't take it anymore. Who could stand such a thing? It was like she was a person who wanted to eat grapes but didn't have the money to buy them. When she finally saw someone buy a bunch of grapes and the person spat out the seeds after eating the grapes, she ran over to pick up the seeds and plant them in her yard. She watered and fertilized the grapes every day, catching insects and building a frame. She waited painstakingly for the grapes to ripen and grow into sweet grapes that were bigger than the grapes outside. Usually, if there were 2 snails that wanted to climb the grape frame, it would be fine. At most, she would just catch them and stomp them to death when she saw them. But King hell, there was such a thing in this world. A grape seed was planted in the ground, but it didn't bear a bunch of grapes. It only bore one. It was big, purple, and tempting. She couldn't bear to eat it. She waited patiently, waiting for the grape to turn purple and black before eating it. In the end, the god of plague who spat out the grape seeds came knocking on her door and insisted that she stole the grape seeds that she spat out. She insisted on plucking the grapes that she planted. Was there still any law? Yun Yi. Why are you quarreling? If you don't want to sleep, then don't sleep. Why are you throwing things? Jiang Zhao had a stomach full of anger that he couldn't vent. He was suffering internal injuries from holding it in. And because the Ouyang Yen was outside, he forced himself to calm down after quarreling. He mustn't lose his temper. It was fine to quarrel a little. What was the point of throwing a tantrum in front of outsiders? Yi Er's heart was filled with grievances, wave after wave. The weather in High City had already dropped to -2 to 3 degrees Celsius. She only drank some soup and thought that he was missing. What else did she want from him? This wasn't the first time she ran out of the house to look for him. Just because she was more attentive than him. Just because she deserved it, right? Some people said that in love, whoever fell in love first would lose. They had also made a bet back then. Why was the loser so pitiful? Why was everything wrong? No wonder no one was willing to lose. He wouldn't lose, and she would never admit defeat. She would never admit how pitiful she was in front of him. Yi Er opened the car door. I want to go up and sit for a while. If they dared to sleep with her in front of her, she would use the kitchen knife to kill this adulterous couple. They were too much. Jiang Zhao was so angry that he wanted to bang on the door. It was such a cold day. The Ouyang Yen knew to go back. Why did she still want to go to his place? She had been out for so long. She probably hadn't even lost the night's medicine. Now she didn't even want to leave. She was so bored that she became an idiot. Yun Yi. Are you crazy? What are you going up for? Go back to the hospital. I don't want to. I just want to go upstairs and sit for a while. When Yi Er got out of the car, she slammed the car door. Jiang Zhao had no choice. He could only park the car at the marked parking space and get out of the car. Ouyang Yen didn't want Jiang Zhao to see her angry expression, so she walked faster to chase after Yi Er. Yi Er walked in front like the protagonist. She thought to herself, why can't I walk faster? Why can't I take the lead and walk in front? This house is my husband's. Even if it was a premarital property, after 5 years of marriage, it would be a joint property. She couldn't divorce him. This house would sooner or later become her and her husband's joint property. Come and see, Songshu 566. Chapter 591. Ouyang Yan's eyes were filled with anger. She almost wanted to kill Yi Er right here and now. It was really troublesome to deal with this kind of woman. She couldn't provoke her no matter what she said. After entering through the glass door, they walked through the waiting area and walked towards the elevator corridor. The environment of the neighborhood was very good. There were many potted plants in every elevator waiting area. It was winter now, so most of the plants were green. However, there were also plants like the fortune tree. The temperature in the waiting area was a few degrees higher than outside. The fortune tree had braids on its stems. There weren't many green Yi Er because the air and sunlight were not as direct as outside. The color was a light yellow. Yi Er walked in front while Ouyang Yen followed behind. Yi Er wanted to see what Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Yen were doing behind her. She walked so slowly. When she turned around, she happened to see Ouyang Yan's murderous eyes. Wow, this woman also has such a gaze. Did the sun rise from the east this morning? Ouyang Yen didn't expect Yi Er to suddenly turn around. She didn't stop walking. She wasn't as tall as Yi Er, but Yi Er was wearing flat heels today. She was wearing high heels today, so they were about the same height. Therefore, Jiang Zhao, who was still behind her, didn't see Yi Er's last expression clearly. Ouyang Yen bumped into Yi Er. Actually, she didn't use much force. However, when Yi Er screamed, her voice sounded very surprised and panicked. But behind her was the fortune tree's big pot. Although Yi Er also used some skill to avoid the pain of the fall, she did not calculate the direction of her fall clearly. Bang! Her head crashed into the beautiful night sky in front of her eyes, and the stars were so bright. Jiang Zhao heard Yi Er's scream and pushed the door with force. The glass door bounced back after Jiang Zhao left. It bounced back and forth a few times before it stopped. Yi Er lay on the ground, trying to make her moans sound more painful. Wasn't this the effect she wanted? She didn't believe that the two of them would be able to throw her upstairs to have fun. She wouldn't give them such a chance. Rubbing the back of her head, she felt like dying. She just wanted to act, to learn how the mistress in TV dramas would harm the legal wife in front of the man. She was so good at it. If it wasn't a miscarriage, it was a sprain. The male lead would definitely scold the female lead, but she didn't want to act so realistically. Was it because she had bad intentions, so God was punishing her? Because in soap operas, mistresses didn't have a good ending. But God had wronged her. She was the first wife, not a mistress. Her eyes were in so much pain that she wanted to cry. The words that came out of her mouth were extremely unbelievable and quite pitiful. Elder sister Yen, why did you push me? If you don't want me to go upstairs, just say so. Why did you have to push me so fiercely? Yi Er felt that she was saving herself by acting like a mistress in the soap operas. Even her tone and gaze were so similar. A mistress's lovely and pitiful appearance made people sympathize with her. Even if they didn't sympathize with her, they couldn't bear to scold her. She didn't know if it was because her acting was too good or because her body hadn't recovered and was very weak. At this moment, Yi Er's injury looked a little serious. Ouyang Yen was stunned. She didn't expect to be played like this. She looked at Yi Er and felt even more disgusted. She said coldly, "What nonsense are you talking about? When did I push you? You turned around on your own. I didn't hit you hard. You fell back on your own." Ouyang Yen was telling the truth. The truth was that Yi Er wanted to frame her. She wanted to find something annoying to make Jiang Zhao give up and go upstairs. Jiang Zhao wanted to pull Yi Er up and rush her to the hospital. But in the next second, when he saw Yi Er take out the hand behind her head to wipe the tears on her face, he was stunned. Blood was coming out of her head. He couldn't stand the shock of seeing Yi Er injured. He immediately bent down and carried Yi Er from the ground. His eyes were cold and filled with hostility as he stared at Ouyang Yen. The words he said were the harshest words he had ever said to Ouyang Yen. Ouyang Yen. He called her by her name. Jiang Zhao had always called her Yun Yun. Ouyang Yen was stunned. She took half a step back. Her body trembled when he called her Ouyang Yen. Yun Ye's health isn't good. She just wants to go upstairs and sit for a while. She wants to go upstairs and sit for a while. What's wrong with a sick person being willful? Do you have to be like this? Jiang Zhao bit his lips. When facing Ouyang Yen, he would never be able to get angry like he did with Yi Er. For example, when he saw Ouyang Yen, he couldn't even curse. Some people were just like that. When you saw her, you would treat her like a goddess. It was as if you couldn't bear to blaspheme her. Even vulgarities should be insulted from her. Some people were just like Yi Er. When they did something wrong, they couldn't help but scold her. After scolding her, they wanted to dote on her. But Yi Er could throw a tantrum at him. He could control her and be fierce to her. But how could others do the same? Or even push her? She was just in a bad mood after being sick for a while and wanted to throw a tantrum. She just wanted to go upstairs and sit for a while. Perhaps she wanted to go upstairs and look at the plants on the balcony. People who were sick were always fickle. Ouyang Yen was a magnanimous person. How could he push Yi Er just because she was being unreasonable? Yi Er was really feeling a little dizzy. In the beginning, there were still stars spinning in the sky. But now, it was almost dawn. The stars had disappeared and it was getting darker. The surroundings were getting quieter. She leaned into the man's arms and felt very at ease. She wanted to sleep for a while. This apartment is mine to begin with. She doesn't even have the right to go upstairs and sit. Even if you're unhappy, you shouldn't push her. She just woke up yesterday. And, even if you're unhappy, she can go upstairs and sit there if she wants. Jiang Zhao didn't want to waste any more time talking to Ouyang Yan. When he carried Yi Er to the glass door, he turned around with his back facing the glass door. In front of him was Ouyang Yan, who was so anxious that she was crying. He used his back to push the door open and said fiercely, "It's good that she's fine. If you cause her to be in a coma for a few more days, I'll tell you. Let me tell you, no matter whether the Ouyang family's affairs are related to Yun Hongwei or not, don't expect me to intervene." When Jiang Zhao finished speaking, he pushed the door open with his back. His long legs were wide. He was running as fast as he could, but he was worried that he would shake her head if he ran too fast. After placing her on the passenger seat, he laid her down flat. At this moment, Yi Er suddenly left Jiang Zhao's arms. Her sense of security disappeared instantly. She was afraid that Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Yan would leave her behind. However, she was very tired and could only call out anxiously, "Hubby, hubby." Jiang Zhao's hand was grabbed. When he heard Yi Er calling out for him, he quickly bent down and kissed her lips. His other hand caressed her forehead and gently combed her hair back. Be good, be good. Hubby will take you back to the hospital. We're here. I need to drive. Be good if you don't let go, hubby can't drive. We need to hurry to the hospital. Yin Yi, be good. Jiang Zhao's coaxing had reached the limit. Be good, be good. When Yi Er heard this familiar voice, although it was dry, it was very warm. Jiang Zhao retracted his hand and patted the back of Yi Er's hand comfortingly a few times. Then, he helped her fasten her seatbelt. Along the way, Jiang Zhao drove with one hand. From time to time, he would pat Yi Er's shoulder or hand to tell her that there was always someone by her side and that there was no need to be afraid. When his condition was better, he would hold her hand with one hand and gently massage the web between her thumb and forefinger. Jiang Zhao did not dare to tell Yun Hongwei that Yi Er had injured her head because the doctor said that the main reason why she fainted was because she was too tired. She had just recovered and should not be too tired. Otherwise, she would not be able to take it. They should open the window more to let in some fresh air and let the patient rest for a few days. Jiang Zhao thought about the environment today and was afraid that none of them were suitable for rest. The doctor said that there was a small wound on the back of the patient's head. It would be fine after 2 stitches. The main problem was that she needed more rest. She could take some supplements now. As for what the doctor said, he could not tell Yun Hongwei anything. Later, when he told him the whole story, he might ask them to get a divorce again. This father-in-law was the best at threatening people. When he threatened someone, he would directly pick the thing that he cared about the most. When the stitches were done, they gave her some anesthetic. A small piece of hair was shaved at the injured area. When the nurse was about to throw it into the trash can, Jiang Zhao said, "Give this to me. Don't throw it away. My family says that long hair should not be thrown outside after it has been cut." Jiang Zhao remembered that Qin Zhen had told him before that if a woman's hair was long, she should go to the hairdresser to have it cut. In the end, she should bring it home and not throw it away. It was inauspicious. He asked her why. She said that there was no reason. "In the past, after I got married to your father, I went to cut my hair. Your father was very unhappy. He said that a married couple's hair was cut and thrown outside like this. What kind of woman was she? In the end, they really divorced. Who knew? It was just a superstition." In any case, after Yi Er got together with him, she had not cut her hair. Occasionally, she would trim the split ends, but it did not grow much. The quality of her hair was not very good. In the past, she had permed and dyed her hair. Especially from the middle to the waist, it was very dry. Only the part from the top to the middle was smooth to the touch. She held her hair in her hand. Half of it was black and the other half was yellow. It was a little curly and did not look good. While the nurse was stitching up Yi Er, she twirled her long hair around her finger. Yang Yan had been waiting in the waiting room outside the elevator. There were humanely arranged chairs in the waiting room. She sat on it and lowered her head. Thinking about what had happened that night, she felt her blood boil. Yunyi was too vicious. She was not even 20 years old. How could she be so arrogant and dare to scheme against her? Not only did she scheme against her, she actually dared to hit herself so hard. Her head was almost broken. Now, what kind of person did she become in front of Jiang Zhao? Narrow-minded? Evil in her heart? He spoke in such a harsh tone. Even back then, when she told him that they had been separated for a few years and wanted to go out and try her luck, he had not been so angry. Welfare, Songshu 566. Chapter 592. Actually, they hadn't really broken up. They had only said that they would be apart for a few years, and he had said that he would wait for her. But now, he would never admit that their relationship was just a temporary separation for a few years. She had left without any hesitation because she believed that he would be faithful to her. If a man like Jiang Zhao had started to be unfaithful, would there still be a reliable man in this world? What did he say? If something happened to Yunyi, he would never interfere in the family Ouyang's matters. How ruthless. Did he think that she, Ouyang Yan, had to rely on him? Did he think that he was so great? Did he think that she had swallowed her pride and looked for him because she wanted him to help her family Ouyang? He thought too highly of himself. She slowly picked up her phone and dialed a number. Her gaze slowly recovered from its daze and became clearer and clearer. There were daggers in her gentleness. When the other party picked up, Ouyang Yan chuckled and said, "Grandpa, are you asleep?" "Hee, yes, I miss you." "Yeah, I want to talk to you about something." Although the sky was already dark, it was winter after all, so it was still early. It wasn't even 10 o'clock yet. After Xia Qian got a car, she deliberately paid more attention to riding a bicycle. She always felt that people who often drove were prone to subhealth problems. As someone who worked in the media, she always knew a lot about this. She was very afraid that she would develop subhealth problems at such a young age, so she would ride a bicycle for an hour every night. She rode the bicycle very fast, which was the only way to train. She threw her sweater jacket into the bicycle basket. She wore a pair of singlet pants, which made it easy for her to ride the bicycle. Riding a bicycle at this time of night had its benefits. There weren't many people riding on the road. As long as it wasn't in the city center or the commercial district, there weren't many pedestrians. Riding a bicycle at this time of night was the best. Otherwise, she would have to go to the riverside very early to ride. On the asphalt road outside the sidewalk, she whooshed through the wind and fog. She was in a positive mood. The trees planted by the roadside were as big as rice cookers. There was a parking line between the trees, and the number of cars parked in the line ranged from 30 to 50,000 to 3 to 5 million. Behind her was a loud fart that shook everyone's ears. A modified motorcycle arrogantly passed by Xia Qian from behind. Although she cursed the person who modified the motorcycle as a lunatic, she had to admit that she was scared by this lunatic. The consequences of being scared were more serious, causing her bike to tilt and fall onto the car next to her. Xia Qian was a media person. She felt that she was promoting positive energy at any time and place, but promotion and Yan Yilv were two different things. She looked at the wheels of the car. On the wheels was the logo of the car. In fact, a car like Bentley was nothing special. It was just that she couldn't afford it. Xia Qian believed that positive energy needed to be promoted. For example, don't be calculative, don't be unforgiving, have a broad mind, have great love in your heart, be kind like water, have a heart of tolerance for the people of the middle and lower class of society, and learn to bemoan the state of the universe and pity the fate of mankind. The owner of the Bentley must be a kind person, so he wouldn't care about the small damage a bicycle caused to his car. Xia Qian took a deep breath and looked around. Then she generously picked up her bicycle and prepared to escape. Hearing the door lock click, Xia Qian quickly got on the bicycle. Before she could take a step, the back of her collar was grabbed by a tall and lanky man. Hey, hey, hey. A gentleman uses his mouth, not his fists. When Xia Qian couldn't pedal, she realized that not only was she grabbed, but the back seat was also grabbed. Miss, don't you know that you have to pay for broken things? Xia Qian felt that the voice was familiar. She stretched out a hand that was holding the armrest and scratched her head. Suddenly, an idea flashed through her mind. She immediately turned around and looked at the man who was holding her clothes from the back. Was this guy flirting outside at night? He was dressed like a tyrant in a Korean drama. Was he acting in Winter Love or Love in Blue? But the male lead's eyes weren't so evil, okay? Don't be like this every time. Ha, Mr. Shen, hello. Long time no see. You're getting more and more. Xia Qian desperately tried to think of an adjective to describe him. Handsome. Too old-fashioned, too vulgar. Handsome. Wasn't it about the same? Before she could think of anything, Shen Kai loosened his hands and casually patted them a few times. Yeah, it's fate. Why do I run into you everywhere? Shen Kai suddenly loosened his grip. Xia Qian had one hand on the steering wheel and the other on her head. She twisted her body backward and stepped on the pedals. Shen Kai loosened his grip and the car immediately tilted. Shen Kai didn't even have time to pull it and it fell to the ground. Xia Qian thought to herself, good, good. It wasn't embarrassing because she wore thick winter clothes and it didn't hurt. She stood up and fixed the bicycle. Mr. Shen, you're good at kung fu. I can't even handle your shadowless kicks. Shen Kai had met Xia Qian a few times and could roughly guess her personality. Is that so? Then I'll try the 18 dragon palms again. Knowing that Xia Qian was referring to his hands as feet, he cooperated and lifted his feet. The shiny leather shoes made Xia Qian's eyes hurt. Fine, Xia Qian admitted defeat. Some people didn't care if you called their hands or feet. They just wanted to make you suffer and didn't care about anything else. Next time, she had to think of a way to make a program. The topic was, how to rebuild the self-esteem of young people nowadays. Yi Er woke up after the drip. When she woke up, Jiang Zhao was sleeping beside her. His arm was under her head, his head was leaning against hers and his chin was on her shoulder. Was he back at the hospital? Was it the next day? No, she had to be sure what time it was. Honey, what day is it now? What time is it? Jiang Zhao suddenly opened his eyes and said doubtfully, Honey, are you stupid? It's been less than 2 hours since you came back from the apartment in the north of the city. There are still a few minutes before the drip is finished. Why are you asking about the time? Yi Er was happy. So it was the same day. If she stayed in the hospital for less than 2 hours, it meant that Jiang Zhao didn't go upstairs to the Ouyang Yan apartment. Even if there was no traffic at night, driving to the hospital from there would be no traffic. It would take nearly 50 minutes. Really? Yes, really. Honey, I really like staying in the hospital. Really, really. Yi Er was so excited that she wanted to reach out and hug Jiang Zhao. However, she forgot that there was a needle on the back of her hand to guide the medicine. When she reached out to hug Jiang Zhao, the needle was tilted and it was a tragedy. 3 minutes later, Jiang Zhao was wearing his pajamas and standing in front of the bed. He was looking at the nurse cleaning Yi Er's wound. He suddenly felt that he should go to Hong Kong to look for a fortune teller as soon as possible. He really doesn't want to stay in High City for even a minute. It must be bad luck this year for so many things to happen. The nurse looked at the wound on the back of Yi Er's hand. Yesterday, the mayor's wife had overturned the floor stand after vomiting and strained the back of her hand. This time, she did something else and strained the back of her hand again. How can Yi Er admit that she wanted to hug Jiang Zhao? How can she admit it in front of the nurse? After the nurse finished cleaning Yi Er's wound, she kept a pile of used cotton balls, disinfectant, gauze, etc. She reminded Yi Er not to touch the water and to come over tomorrow morning to change the gauze before leaving the room. Yi Er raised her hand and looked at it. She felt that it was nothing serious. It was just a small injury. She lay down again. When she saw that Jiang Zhao was still standing, she opened her arms to him and asked him to hug her. "Hubby, let's sleep together. I want to sleep with you." Jiang Zhao lifted the blanket and looked at her. He couldn't help but want to eat her up. Didn't she know that he had not eaten meat for a long time and couldn't resist her temptation? Not to mention, she looked so cute right now. He wasn't immune to her coquettish and cute tricks. Didn't she know that? "I don't want to sleep with you." Yi Er heard this. How can she do this? She doesn't want to sleep with him. And her tone was so cold. They slept together last night. Was it because of the Ouyang Yen? Yi Er also lifted the blanket on her bed and got out of bed barefoot. Jiang Zhao was about to stop her, but Yi Er had already jumped onto Jiang Zhao's bed. The size of the bed was not comparable to the bed at home, but it was much bigger than the bed in the public hospital. After Yi Er fell asleep, she patted the empty space beside her hand and smiled sweetly. "Honey, come on. Let's sleep." Jiang Zhao shook his head and sighed. She should sleep. Anyway, she took Western medicine and should fall asleep soon. As long as she didn't move, she would be fine. No matter why Yi Er wanted to sleep with Jiang Zhao, her heart was beating wildly. Jiang Zhao's deliberate alienation made her feel extremely insecure. She always wondered if he would do something with the Ouyang Yen. After all, he had lost his temper with her before they got married. She had no right to ask about the things between him and that woman. She had repeatedly promised that she would not interfere in the matters between him and that woman. Yi Er turned Jiang Zhao over and over again. In the end, she decided to turn around and hug him from behind. Her slender hand slid into his pajamas. Her hand was a little cold. When she touched the man's chest, Yi Er felt that he couldn't help but tremble. At this moment, regardless of whether Yi Er's hand was cold or not, Jiang Zhao couldn't stand her carelessly touching him like this. He had already said that he was a man who hadn't eaten meat for more than 20 days. Now, his stomach was rumbling with hunger. Not to mention that this girl could get out of bed now. As long as she was alive, he wouldn't be able to stand it if she ran up to the tip of his nose and circled around him. Yi Er didn't notice at all. Her thoughts were still on the Ouyang Yen. She was worried that Jiang Zhao's soul would be seduced by that woman while she was unconscious. That was why she didn't move when she hugged him. She didn't know that Jiang Zhao was about to explode from holding himself back. Until Yi Er didn't believe it and slid her hand into Jiang Zhao's pants. Beauty novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 593. Jiang Zhao suddenly grabbed her hand. "Don't touch me." Did the 2 stitches on the back of this woman's head stop hurting? Or was the anesthetic still working? "I'm not touching you." When Yi Er denied it, her face was burning red. She was not touching him. She just wanted to touch him. "Then where are you touching?" Jiang Zhao's voice was a little hoarse when he asked. He did not dare to turn around to face her. "No." Yi Er thought for a while. If it wasn't, then what was it? Since he liked to talk nonsense, she might as well talk nonsense. "I just want to see if there's any difference between you and me. I've been sleeping for more than 20 days, and my chest has become thinner. I want to touch and see if that thing of yours has become thinner while I've been sleeping." Jiang Zhao froze for a moment. What? Did she say that he had become thinner? Did she mean that it had become smaller? Didn't she know that men were very mindful of people talking about this? Or had she been led astray by someone? Was she comparing him to someone? Men's bravery in this aspect did not suppress their ambition for their career. When Jiang Zhao turned around and hugged Yi Er, he gently bit her lips. "Have you become thinner?" At this moment, Yi Er swore to Buddha that she had become super perverted. Female. Because she had become perverted. Heart. Please forgive this woman who had just woken up from her coma yesterday. She had only eaten pork and had never eaten human flesh. She was a little shy, but that was only in response to Jiang Zhao's burning gaze. Actually, in her heart, it was no longer a matter of whether she was shy or not. It was a matter of whether she could take it off or not. The gauze on the left side of her head was a little annoying. She did not know why it needed to be patched. Wasn't it just a small cut? She did not feel anything at all. Since her head did not feel anything, she had to do something that made her feel something, right? Actually, I can't feel whether I've become thinner or not. My hand has become thinner too, so it should feel different from before. When Yi Er finished speaking, she swallowed hard. This was not her fault. It was really not her fault. She could only blame her chest for becoming thinner. Jiang Zhao's was not thinner. The flesh on her stomach was loose, while Jiang Zhao's abs were still in pieces. This difference only made her more and more uncomfortable. The perverted Jiang Zhao. After touching her, she felt as if there were worms crawling all over her body. They kept crawling and crawling until her whole body was itchy. Jiang Zhao could guarantee that he would not act recklessly when the two of them slept together. As long as she slept, even if they slept until dawn, he would not do anything to her. After all, her body had just recovered, and he could not bear to torture her. However, he could not stand her seducing him. He found that her seducing him was especially useful. As an official, even if he was just a deputy bureau chief, there were still many women throwing themselves at him. Naturally, he knew the pros and cons of this. Some of these women could not be bought off with money. However, when she came to him, he could not control himself and had her in bed in just a few moves. That was why he said that she was a little fox. She should be a little fox spirit. When she was a few years older, she would be a fox spirit. She was born with the ability to seduce men. Perhaps it was because the way they started their relationship was wrong, so he was always worried about her. He was always afraid that she would seduce other men, that she would flirt with other men, and that she would turn around and sexually bribe other men when he was not paying attention. Although they had lived together for so long, he also knew that she was not very open. It was unlikely that she would do those immoral things. However, being too possessive could easily cause a person's mood to change. Trust was not something that could be built overnight. Be good. Yunyi, be good. Sleep well, okay? He coaxed her and also persuaded himself. Now, he hugged her sideways and held her head with his hand. He was thinking that the stitches had just been stitched up. No. Young people were sometimes impulsive. Yi Er felt that at her age, it was inevitable that she would be impulsive when she was with the man she liked. Even if Yi Er rejected him, or if she gave in half-heartedly, Jiang Zhao could still make the decision to give himself to her. However, she refused. Not only did she refuse, she even snuggled into his arms. Not only did she touch here, she also touched there. She touched everywhere. Not only did she touch everywhere, she even rubbed everywhere, pinched everywhere, and escaped everywhere. Her hands had started to turn cold. At this moment, they were burning hot. Her face was also burning red. He pulled the blanket down a little to expose her face so that she could breathe more air. However, the moment he pulled the blanket away, Yi Er heaved a huge sigh of relief. She felt like she was about to suffocate to death. She hooked her arms around Jiang Zhao's neck and started to bite him. She bit him anxiously. She was like a vicious wolf. Other people said that men were like wolves in bed. However, Jiang Zhao felt that at this moment, Yi Er was like a wolf. She was pouncing on him like a wolf. Jiang Zhao was really worried that Yi Er had just woken up and was so excited that her blood pressure would rise. Would she faint? Although he really wanted to, he still tried to persuade her. Be good, Yunyi. Don't rush. Don't rush, okay? Yi Er nodded and nodded. Okay. Don't rush. Which man didn't like a woman to take the initiative and be passionate? Jiang Zhao liked it and was worried at the same time. With these conflicted emotions, he slowly took her. During this process, he had to be gentle, he had to be slow, he had to hold her head. Yunyi, do you think you've lost weight? The man moved slowly, hinting at something. Although Jiang Zhao had already turned on the lights to prevent any disturbances, the soundproofing of the hospital ward had never been very good. Even if it was a private hospital, they were afraid of accidents. Yi Er panted softly, not daring to make too much noise. The two of them looked like they had just run 5 kilometers. They squatted in the corner and whispered. When they spoke, their panting was louder than their voices. No. No. Hubby is still so awesome. Hubby, hey. Jiang Zhao chuckled and kissed Yi Er's nose, responding to her voice. Mimi has lost weight. Yi Er was under pressure. She thought of Ouyang Yan's figure. Do you dislike it? Why would I? I like it regardless of whether you've gained weight or lost weight. I like Yunye's Mimi the most. Hearing the man use the word favorite to describe her, Yi Er felt like she had reached the clouds in a long time. Xia Qian saw that Shen Kai was about to kick at her and immediately took a step back. Ha, Mr. Shen, it's so late. Why aren't you resting? She felt that she should find a topic to talk to Shen Kai and get closer to him. Last time, he insisted on dragging her to the crematorium. What about this time? This kind of man wasn't easy to bully. He wasn't cute. He wasn't cute at all. Shen Kai retracted his leg and shook his head. His expression was filled with pain. I was sleeping in the car when the car was suddenly hit. Blood flowed out of my heart. It was so painful that my heart was twisting. Not to mention that I can't rest today, I probably won't be able to rest well for the next month. This bruise really stimulated my mental state. Xia Qian was stunned. She rubbed her face. Because cycling was a form of exercise, she didn't wear much. When it was hot, she even took off her sweater and wore only a long-sleeved t-shirt. At this time, the cold wind was like a knife cutting at her, causing her to shiver. You want me to compensate you for your mental state? If she guessed correctly, he would say that his mental state was damaged. Shen Kai adjusted the collar of his mid-length coat and gave Xia Qian a thumbs up. Xia Qian bared her teeth. Who could teach her how to discuss mental compensation with a man who was the head of the procuratorate? To show that his neck was long. Big collar. Would the head of the procuratorate have the nerve to wear such a cool style? If the head of the procuratorate had any integrity, he would be too embarrassed to drive a car like a Bentley, right? If she asked him to compensate, she would have to have a good discussion with him about social issues related to diligence and integrity. Who's afraid of who? Shen Kai noticed that Xia Qian looked at him from top to bottom and then at his car. After looking at it, her eyes rolled like a mouse. Miss Xia, this car isn't mine. It's my mother's. So, I think you need to pay for it. I'll let her know. Xia Qian felt as if she had been struck by lightning. What? Your mother's? Your mother is rich. How could someone who could ask such a stupid question not be Xia Qian? Shen Kai smiled in a very gentlemanly and self-deprecating manner. My mother is just a softie. My father gave her this car. In her heart, Xia Qian rolled her eyes that were begging for reconciliation. She glared at Shen Kai. She felt that this grandson was just pretending. He was obviously from a rich family. Why did he have to explain it like this? Was he afraid that others wouldn't know that his family was rich? However, Xia Qian's eyes were still begging for reconciliation. Even the smile on her face was like the sunlight without fog during the day. Mr. Shen, it's so late. Since you haven't rested yet, why don't we have supper together? I'll treat you. People equals money could be spent from Xia Qian's bag, and it was for a person she didn't like. There was only one reason, and that was that she wanted to save more money. Shen Kai reached out and touched his chin. His evil handsome eyebrows raised slightly. Yo, he said and looked at Xia Qian. She had already taken off her sweater from the front of the basket, not caring that there was a man standing in front of her. She began to put it on. Beauty novel, Xinwu 799. Chapter 594. When she poked her head out of the sweater, it was still red and her hair was a little wet. It looked like her hair was not as thick as before. She adjusted her casual sweater with a drawstring and a hat. So, I'll treat you to supper. Anyway, he did not want to talk about the compensation. Xia Qian felt that she was pretty unlucky. Her second-hand car had crashed into Qin Fian's car, causing Yi Er's forehead to bleed and Jiang Zhao to almost tear her apart. However, she had bought this bicycle brand new and had ridden it for a few years. Today, she had crashed into Shen Kai's car again. Both times, she had crashed into luxury cars. That time, Qin Fian's car had escaped compensation because of Jiang Zhao's words. This time, she did not have any helpers by her side. What should she do? It looked like Shen Kai was not willing to accept a settlement. Shen Kai raised his devilishly handsome eyebrows again. He turned around and looked at the spot where the back door of the car had been hit. He frowned. This frown made Xia Qian extremely uneasy. Frown? Was he really going to ask his mother to come out and extort her? Although her sister was quite rich, she could not ask her to solve every problem. She was still dreaming of becoming an independent woman like her elder sister every day. Shen Kai laughed. You want to eat to pay off your debt? But I don't think it's worth it. Eating to pay off her debt. This was indeed Xia Qian's truest thought. Wasn't it just a meal in exchange for a scratch? Who didn't know that a piece of paint on a high-end car cost a white-collar worker a month or even a few months' salary? Moreover, she was not a white-collar worker. She was not even considered a gray-collar worker. Mr. Shen, look at you. What you're saying is so vulgar. Can't we talk about something more meaningful? For example, we can have a drink, make friends, and have a chat. Shen Kai could not help but laugh. But I don't like to talk about ordinary things. I like to talk about life with women. Do you? Shen Kai said the word life ambiguously. Xia Qian, the idiot, did not understand the deeper meaning of the words life. Regardless of whether he was born from a dog or a pig, as long as he could repay his debt with food, it was all good. Of course I know how to chat. I also especially like to chat about life. I feel that it is especially meaningful to chat about life. Young people nowadays are impetuous and impatient. How many of them understand the true meaning of life? One look and I can tell that Mr. Shen is a particularly profound person. Even his conversation is so profound. Shen Kai looked at Xia Qian's serious expression as she agreed to talk about this kind of life with him. He felt that it was too interesting. High City's Media College was known as the biggest college for mistresses. There was actually a girl like Xia Qian. I want to eat something good, Shen Kai said. Sure, but let's make things clear. Today's my treat. Don't act like you're going to fight to pay the bill. Xia Qian touched her trouser pocket. There were more than 70 yuan inside. She had originally planned to go back to the supermarket to buy some detergent, toothpaste, and soap, but it seemed that she was going to be extorted today. She looked at Shen Kai and said very generously, let's go to Qionglu. It's on the same level as Haiyulu. There are too many colleagues in Haiyulu. If I take you there for a meal, they will say behind my back that I'm flirting with handsome guys again. It won't be good. Shen Kai chuckled. Sure, leave your lousy car aside. Let's go to Qionglu. Xia Qian sat in the Bentley and patted the cushion on the table. She said to Shen Kai, who was driving, Mr. Shen, your mother has such good taste and good taste. The seats in this car are really comfortable. It's very suitable for a woman of your mother's age. When a woman has back pain for a few days, she won't have menstrual cramps anymore. Xia Qian originally wanted to say something good about the owner of the Bentley. If he did not lose money, he would have a higher chance of winning. Who knew that this flattery would hit the nail on the head? The model, color, and configuration of this car were all chosen by Shinkai himself. The corner of Shinkai's mouth twitched. Xia Qian said that this car was suitable for his mother's taste and taste. Was she trying to say that he was a friend of women? Yi Er felt the back of her head hurt more and more. It was a pain in the flesh, not a headache. Jiang Zhao knew that it must be because the anesthetic had not worn off. Now, it was great. The two of them had just showered and were about to go to bed when her head started to hurt again. He didn't even know if she had strained her scalp when she was excited just now. Was the thread pulled open? Her eyes were filled with tears from the headache. He also had a headache. It was really too torturous. He was too embarrassed to go to the nurse. If the wound was pulled open and they asked about it, he couldn't possibly say that he had just had a fierce battle and then pulled open the wound, right? He couldn't say it out loud. It was better for him to take a look first. Let me take a look. Jiang Zhao sat up and turned Yi Er over. He then brushed her hair aside and gently pulled open the gauze at the back of her head. It's not torn. It's fine. The anesthetic has probably worn off. Do you want another shot of anesthetic? It won't hurt anymore after that. Jiang Zhao, are you uncultured? Even I know that hero Lu Bucheng didn't use anesthetic during his surgery because he was afraid that he would become stupid in the future. Why don't you know about it? Or are you just looking at me like I'm stupid? Yi Er finally bit back at Jiang Zhao. It was really good to be uncultured. Jiang Zhao couldn't be bothered to argue with Yi Er. He was clearly afraid that she would be in pain. If she wanted to be a hero, then let her be. He lay down, hugged his wife, and had a good sleep, at that moment, in the southern home. In Zhou Li's apartment, Yuan Shichang was furious. He threw out the wall lamp and smashed 2 light bulbs. The thin glass shards splashed all over the room. Zhou Li sat on the sofa without saying a word. She slowly brushed her bright nail polish on her fingers. Yuan Shichang, have you had enough? Yuan Shichang was very angry at this moment. Looking at the woman's carefree expression, he couldn't help but get angry. Tell me, when will you bring Si Jia back? Si Jia is also my child. I'm willing to let Yi Er raise him. No matter how Yuan Shichang forced her, she wouldn't ask Yi Er for Si Jia. Now, everyone didn't like her. She wasn't a fool. Anyway, she pursued freedom. She would be happy if she didn't care about her child's happiness. She was still young. At her age, it didn't matter if she had another child. What was so difficult for a woman like her to have a child? Yours? Si Jia is mine. Yuan Shichang couldn't wait to pick up a stool in the room and throw it at this woman. I'll tell you, Zhou Li. I'll tell you. Yuan Shichang was very agitated. His words were short and heavy. He kept repeating them over and over again, as if he had made some kind of decision. Zhou Li, I'll tell you. If you don't want to use the most peaceful method to get Si Jia back, I'll let the whole Haiqing know that Si Jia is my son. If your lowly daughter and filthy ex-husband are angered to death by you, I don't care. When he saw Zhou Li looking at him in shock, he suddenly felt a sense of coldness. He sneered and added, as long as I ask for a DNA test, I don't believe that you'll be able to live as comfortably as you are now. This was something that Yuan Shichang could only say when he was forced into a corner. He had promised Zhou Li before that he could have a child, but he couldn't reveal Si Jia's blood relationship. Everyone had to be human. Not only would it be bad for the adults, but it would also be bad for the child. However, she had forced him to do this. He had waited for so long, but she was lazy and didn't have any results at all. She was simply a character who would move whenever he poked her. If he didn't urge her, she would just shop and eat. If he urged her, she would say a few words. As long as the other party was a little tougher, she would immediately come back and say that she would never go again. Don't you dare. Zhou Li threw the nail polish on the coffee table in front of her and stood up. The small round bottle rolled and rolled onto the large square carpet under the coffee table. The red sticky liquid slowly flowed out from the bottle and bloomed on the beige wool carpet like a poppy flower. Although the nail polish had been spiced, there were still some slight stings. The pungent smell filled the room. Yuan Shichang, you're going back on your words. I'm going back on my words. Take a look at what you've done. I said that I want a son. How long have I given you? You're the one who's worn out my patience. I'm not in the mood to make do with you now. If you want to get lost, then get lost. Whoever wants to raise you can raise you. I only want my son. Otherwise, I'll let your daughter die again. Yuan Shichang roared until his throat was smoking. Zhou Li rushed in front of Yuan Shichang and raised her hand to give him a slap. Just as she raised her hand, Yuan Shichang caught her and threw her forcefully. Zhou Li was thrown off balance by this forceful throw. She flipped upside down and fell onto the sofa. Bouncing twice, the bun that she had tied up loosened and scattered. Yuan Shichang, you've gone too far. How dare you push me? Zhou Li was shocked that Yuan Shichang actually hit her. Whether it was Yun Hongwei or Yuan Shichang, these two cousins of the same generation had never hit her before. Today, not only did they throw things at her place, they even pushed her so forcefully. Not only was she shocked, but she also felt humiliated that her arrogant and willful personality had been trampled on. However, she suddenly recalled what he had said just now and quivered. Say, do you think that Yi Er's accident has something to do with you? You think that she's a hindrance to you? Without her, Yun Hongwei wouldn't have been able to raise Si Jie. Last time, you even asked me to go to the hospital to help her so that she wouldn't give Si Jie to me. Tell me, did you do it? Zhou Li had always been a woman who only cared about herself. She would live as comfortably as she wanted. Whether it was her feelings or her responsibilities, they couldn't restrain her. She liked to live a carefree life. She always felt that Yuan Shichang loved her and she loved him too. Therefore, she didn't feel guilty about betraying her responsibilities and being together with Yuan Shichang, who had no status or status. However, the children were her flesh and blood. Even if she didn't care much about them, she still had feelings for them. Yi Er was her first child. She didn't love Yun Hongwei. When she was pregnant with Yi Er, she wasn't happy either. She was also unwilling to give birth to him. When Yi Er was born, he didn't have the figure that he had now. He was so skinny that his skin was wrinkled. Because of the yellow fever, he was yellow and dark. He was so ugly that she didn't like him even more. After he was born, she didn't want to look at him at all. However, Yun Hongwei treated him like a treasure. She naturally knew Yun Hongwei's feelings for her. Anyone could understand that he loved her. Before she gave birth to the child, he already said that he didn't care whether the child was a boy or a girl. However, Yun Hongwei had this kind of ability. He raised an ugly child to become more beautiful. When he carried her out for the banquet, she was fair and tender. When she occasionally opened her eyes, her pupils were so bright that they looked like they were painted black. It was said that young children couldn't see things clearly because their eyes were misty. However, Yi Er already knew how to laugh when someone teased her. As Yi Er became more and more beautiful, she liked him more and more. Thinking about it, she felt a little comforted. Even though Yi Er's birth was too unexpected, they were still fated to be mother and daughter. Even if she didn't live with Yi Er in the future and didn't rely on her for old age, she still hoped that she would live a peaceful life. She definitely didn't want her to be kidnapped and meet with bad luck. Awesome Novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 595. And this bad luck was brought about by the man she had loved for so many years. It was one thing for Yuan Shichang to speak ill of Yun Hongwei and Yi Er and express his strong dislike for them, but she thought that he was jealous. But how could he be so ruthless to Yi Er? The living room was already in a mess because of Yuan Shichang's bad temper. Now that the woman had been pushed down, he looked like a domestic abuser. When he saw Zhou Li's red eyes questioning him, he sighed heavily and rubbed his face. His rough voice still lingered. Zhou Li, I've spoiled you too much. That's why you don't know what's important and what's not. You clearly know that Yun Hongwei and I don't see eye to eye. We've been fighting for our entire lives, yet you still want to raise my son in the Yun family. Si Jie has always thought he was Yun Hongwei's son. He was so young back then, and he had such a good relationship with Yi Er. If you got him out, wouldn't it leave a scar? Zhou Li had said these words more than 100 times. When Yi Er was still living in that residential area for more than 80 years, Yuan Shichang had asked for her custody many times. Yi Er refused. It was fine if she refused. She felt that Si Jie was living quite well. Yi Er did not mistreat Si Jie. She had hired a private investigator to follow Si Jie. He had grown taller and was doing well in his studies. Yi Er was very good at taking care of children. She did not need Yuan Shichang to take care of them. Who knew that after Yi Er was going to marry Jiang Zhao, Yuan Shichang could no longer sit still. When he was poor, he could not even get custody. Now that he had found such a powerful backer, what hope did he have? When Yuan Shichang heard Zhou Li say such words again, the flame of anger in his heart rose again. He bent down and picked up the fruit rack on the coffee table and smashed it. The fruit rack was made of stainless steel, and there were 4 or 5 kinds of fruits inside. They all fell to the ground with a dong 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 sound. His voice was like the object that had been smashed to the ground. It exploded into pieces. Every word and sentence was venting his negative emotions. Zhou Li. For you, I couldn't even give birth to a son. You were the one who said that with Si Jie. I wasn't allowed to have a son with Zhou Yan. I wasn't allowed to have children with other women. It was all King your fault. How old am I now? Huh? How old is he? I'll be 50 soon. But 2 years ago, my Jingzi survival rate was no longer able to get anyone pregnant. My chances of getting pregnant were 3 to 5%, but you kept telling me that you wanted to raise Si Jie in the Yun family. Let me tell you, Ma Shichang, will never have a son in this lifetime. If Yun Yi dares to continue dominating Si Jie, I'll let her die. The decoration of the Cheong Pavilion was more modern than that of the Haiyue Pavilion, and they served high-end Cantonese cuisine. Xia Qian's clothes cost about 100 yuan each, but when the 2 rows of miss who were wearing welcoming dresses bowed to her and Shin Kai in unison and shouted, "Welcome," Xia Qian straightened her back and raised her eyebrows confidently. She felt that her clothes were worth at least 10,000 yuan. Shin Kai followed beside Xia Qian. Looking at her expression, he couldn't help but frown. This country bumpkin really hasn't seen the world. Xia Qian saw a seat by the window. It was right in the middle, and both the front and back were occupied. She raised her hand and pointed. "Mr. Shen, shall we sit over there?" "You're asking me to sit in the main hall?" His job was in the inspection department, and it was related to the anti-corruption investigation. It was better to eat in a private room in a place like this. Xia Qian rubbed her head. Her voice wasn't soft, and the people around them could hear her. It didn't seem intentional. "Mr. Shen, you don't know, but private rooms in high-end places like this have a minimum cost. It's just supper for the 2 of us. It's a bit of a waste to have the minimum cost. Why don't we be frugal?" Mr. Shen didn't mind and smiled. He shrugged. "It's good to be frugal. Since it's your treat, you can do whatever you want." He didn't believe that they wouldn't spend at least a few thousand yuan if they casually ordered a few more dishes here. Xia Qian and Shin Kai walked to the window. The environment outside was very good, unlike other restaurants where sitting by the window was to look at the cars on the road and their exhaust fumes. Outside the glass wall was a flower garden, and there was even a children's play area. At this time, there weren't many people who brought children out to eat, so it was very quiet outside. The waiter gave each of them a menu. Xia Qian was very righteous. She said, "I'm treating Mr. Shen to dinner today. When you pay the bill later, don't give the bill to him, okay?" The waiter nodded and smiled politely. "Miss, don't worry. I'll remember." It's my treat. Let me do it. Mr. Shen is from the procuratorate and has always been honest. He definitely won't order properly when he's ordering. I really can't stand him. It's just a meal. The waiter smiled gently. Miss is right. Xia Qian was an indirect sex offender, but at this time, she wasn't stupid at all. She covered her face with the menu to hide her appearance in the waiter's eyes. She whispered to Shinkai, "Are you happy that I said good things about you?" The corner of Shinkai's mouth twitched. Yes, he was so honest that he drove a Bentley today. Xia Qian ordered. Do you have monkey brains with oil? The waiter was stunned. What? It's a live monkey. You take the top off its skull and pour oil out directly. I heard that it's very nutritious. The waiter glanced at Shinkai. Shinkai's face darkened. The waiter quickly shook his head. Not to mention that there was no such thing. Even if there was, it was impossible to order such a thing when the head of the procuratorate was sitting in the hall. The waiter wiped his sweat. Miss, we don't have it here. Let's order something else. Braised giant salamander. Xia Qian said casually. Giant salamander? The waiter was stunned again. It's giant salamander, Xia Qian explained calmly. The waiter held the table. The country protected animals. Dear, even if you want to order something strange, can you enter the private room? You should have asked someone to test if the head of the procuratorate was here to cast a net. Besides, the investigation was so strict now. The restaurant didn't dare to do such things at all, for fear of being caught. Miss, I'm sorry. We don't have it. Why don't you have anything? How annoying. Yi Er patted the menu and was about to order 2 bowls of tomato egg noodles when Shinkai saw through her thoughts. He flipped open the menu in front of him. Miss, please order a serving of Buddha jumps over the wall, in abalone sauce, braised chicken wings, matsutake and winter melon balls. Xia Qian wanted to slip away when she saw the waiter recording the orders with a smile on his face. Shinkai glanced at Xia Qian, who was completely out of it, and said to the waiter, braised pork trotters. Xia Qian didn't want to eat. She couldn't eat this supper. If she ate it, she wouldn't be able to eat for the next month. She didn't want to lose weight. After the waiter left, Shinkai said to Xia Qian, braised pork trotters. I'll order it for you. Am I good? After meeting you a few times, I found a very serious problem. Your chest muscles are not developed enough. I heard that pork trotters are good. If you continue to eat, your chest muscles will be very developed after a month. Why don't you do an experiment? I'll see next month. Chest muscles. F***CK. See your head. The delicious dishes were served, and everyone's appetite was aroused. Some people ate heartily, while others couldn't swallow their food. Xia Qian said lazily, I want to go to the washroom. Shinkai nodded. Xia Qian stood up and was about to slip away from the door behind Shinkai. Shinkai pointed to the front. Go straight to the end, turn left, and go straight to the end. The washroom is the only place with no way out. Xia Qian sat down. I suddenly don't want to go to the washroom. Shinkai asked Xia Qian, don't you want to eat? I'm not hungry. Xia Qian was listless. She was not energetic, but she wasn't hungry. Her stomach was filled with anger. How was she going to escape today? You're really not hungry? Shinkai raised his eyebrows and chuckled. Xia Qian nodded. I'm really not hungry. If she didn't want to eat, could she not have to pay? She didn't have money now, but she had her life. Shinkai waved his hand. Bill, please. Xia Qian suddenly wanted to go to the washroom again. There was only $70 in her bag. But she was delighted to find that Shinkai took out a black wallet, opened it, and took out a card. He held it between his index and middle fingers and handed it to the waiter. I'll pay by card. The waiter wasn't surprised that Xia Qian wanted to pay the bill, and now Shin Kai was paying the bill. Most of the people who came out were men. It seemed that these two weren't husband and wife. Xia Qian was suddenly very pleased with Shin Kai. She admired how he took out his wallet and took out his credit card. She repeatedly asked herself in her heart, "Hey, why do you think this man looks so good when he takes out his wallet? Why does he look so dashing? Not bad. He was too overbearing." Xia Qian had unknowingly picked up her chopsticks and picked up a piece of matsutake and winter melon ball. Wow, it tasted really good. This soup must have been made with chicken. The matsutake must be the freshest. This winter melon ball was waxy. It didn't rot and was even flavorful. Oh my god, this restaurant's culinary skills were really good. The winter melon had the taste of wild animals. It was even the taste of a second-class country's protected animal. It didn't lose out to those things at all. It was really worth it to be able to eat something like this at this price. It was very cost-effective. Shin Kai looked at Xia Qian's intoxicated look as she ate with great interest. He had an impulse to hold his stomach. Just as Xia Qian was devouring all the delicacies on the table, the waiter came over with a card reader and asked Shin Kai to input the password. When Shin Kai entered the password, the waiter consciously looked in other directions to show that he didn't peek at the customer's financial security. The card reader made a mechanical sound and slowly spat out the receipt. The waiter tore it off and handed it to Shin Kai. Shin Kai took it and signed it. While watching Xia Qian eat, he said, "Eat slowly. I'm full. I won't snatch it from you." Xia Qian felt that a man like Shin Kai was an excellent man. He had a sharp tongue and a soft heart. At this time, he really cared about others. She couldn't help but blush. But when Xia Qian finished eating and wiped her mouth with a tissue, Shin Kai pushed the receipt in front of Xia Qian. "Luo, look at the amount. I just bought it. The amount of money for this meal should be paid by you, but I saw that you didn't bring your bag today, so I paid for it first. Do you want to pay me back in cash or directly transfer it to my card?" Xia Qian looked at the Industrial and Commercial Bank credit card receipt in front of her and had the urge to kick him. After Yier's anesthesia, the pain lasted for a few hours. She didn't make much noise, but she would moan from time to time. Jiang Zhao couldn't sleep at all when she moaned. He asked the nurse, and the nurse said it was normal. He prescribed some sedative and hypnotic medicine, but she still moaned when she fell asleep. Even when Yi was asleep, Jiang Zhao would ask a few times, "Yunyi, it hurts, doesn't it?" The woman ignored him for a long time before he went back to sleep. 6:00, it was still a little early. Jiang Zhao's alarm clock was set for 6:30, but Zhuang Yichen's phone kept ringing like a soul-snatching call. Once, twice. After ringing 3 times, Jiang Zhao finally picked up. If he had known, he would have turned off his phone. He didn't want to care about anyone's business. "Brother Zhao, are you awake?" "Not yet." "Get up. It's very important. I don't want you to fall behind. Hurry up. I'm at the parking lot of the hospital sister-in-law is staying at. Just wash up and come down. I'll wait for you in the car. Zone B, parking lot number 15. Zhuang Yichen hung up the phone after he finished speaking, so as not to disturb Jiang Zhao's washing up. When Jiang Zhao heard this, he knew that Zhuang Yichen rarely made jokes. Falling from grace? Was it that serious? If it was that serious, why didn't his family inform him? When he got out of bed, his movements were considered light. He went into the bathroom, brushed his teeth, washed his face, and shaved. When the electric razor moved under his chin, Jiang Zhao was a little lost in thought. He carefully recalled what had happened recently. Chen Tong. Chen Tong realized that the person behind Zhuang Yichen was him. So he made other moves. Zhuang Yichen wasn't such a careless person. Impossible. Zhuang Yichen. Because his secret dealings with Zhuang Yichen were finally discovered after all these years? Both he and Zhuang Yichen were very careful. It was impossible for peerless beauty to be in such a secretive place. Even if they occasionally greeted and chatted in public, it was still within the normal range. Impossible. About his 2 companies? The 2 companies were under his mother's name. Not to mention that his mother had always been a businesswoman, it wasn't strange for her to have 2 more companies. Even those with ordinary family backgrounds who later rose to higher positions would also use the government's resources to register their companies and earn money. As long as he didn't admit to his companies, no one could do anything about it. Other than his 2 employees, he didn't interact with anyone else. How could anything happen? Impossible. He cleaned up in a few moments, put on his shirt, sweater, and suit, and looked at his hair in the mirror on the wardrobe. He tidied it up and took his briefcase. He was just in time to go to work. He went out to find the nurse on duty and asked her to keep an eye on his wife's room. He had to go to work. After that, he pressed the elevator and went downstairs. He went to the parking lot in Zone B. When he saw number 15, he walked over. He opened the door of the back seat and got in. Zhuang Yichen didn't waste any time. He passed the newspaper in his hand to Jiang Zhao. Look at this. I came out early. I guess I'm one of the earliest people in this area to buy the newspaper. You have to think about what to do about this. Awesome novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 596. Jiang Zhao took the newspaper and glanced at Zhuang Yichen's side profile when he turned around. When he sat back, he was still looking at Zhuang Yichen. He should have read the newspaper immediately, but he knew the importance of the situation and needed to divert his attention to sort it out. He crossed his legs and leaned back. Then, he shook the newspaper in a seemingly leisurely manner and opened it. He held his breath. There were pictures and text. Yesterday, Ouyang Yan got into his car. In the end, it was his car that sent Ouyang Yan back to the condominium in the northern part of the city. Ouyang Yan stood outside his car door, as if waiting for him. There was no Yi Er. The most important thing was that the 2 of them were childhood sweethearts. They went to the same school and later confirmed their relationship. After Ouyang Yan returned to Haicheng, he moved into his condominium in the northern part of the city. After getting married, he didn't move out. There was one time when he seemed to be drunk. It was Ouyang Yan who brought him to the condominium in the northern part of the city. There were pictures and incidents. Some of them seemed to be trivial, but the key words used were ambiguous and ambiguous. It made people's imagination run wild. For example, on a certain day, the 2 of them came out of a restaurant at the same time. A designated driver sent them back to the condominium in the northern part of the city. The 2 of them went upstairs together. Until the editor left, neither of them left first. What an accurate but immoral description. Until the editor left? When did the editor leave? Jiang Zhao was sure that the reporters who dared to publish news about a political figure like him had already resigned. He guessed that even the chief editor had to resign today. After all, his position was not as high as those bosses who started their own companies. If something that did not exist was blown out of proportion, he might be demoted or fired. This was clearly to destroy him. Who in Haicheng dared to go against the Jiang and Qin families in public? Do you have any reliable information? Jiang Zhao's voice didn't sound strange at all. He didn't raise his head and asked calmly, as if he was watching someone else's news. It was just that his eyes were lowered. The murderous aura that shot out from his pupils was hidden under his drooping dark eyelashes. There was almost no warning when this matter came out. Suddenly, there was thunder in the clear sky. Suddenly, the wind blew and the clouds gathered. The sky was thick black, as if a storm was about to happen. Not yet. I bought the newspaper by accident. Zhuang Yichen lied. Last night, he stayed at Xiaoya's place in Qingfeng Garden. Last night, Xiaoya's car had problems and couldn't start. So he sent her to work for the first time. After all, he had to go to 2 places and in different directions. So he had to go to Qingfeng Garden earlier. Xiao, she got out. Xiao when she saw the newspaper, she got, and saw the newspaper and saw the newspaper saw. And she saw in the newspaper. He didn't discuss it with her. When she got out of the car, he asked her for the newspaper. After reading the newspaper, he decided to talk to Jiang Zhao face to face. It wasn't convenient to talk to Jiang Zhao with the driver. He asked the driver to take a taxi to the company. He and Jiang Zhao had been tied together for many years. Jiang Zhao's interests were almost inseparable from his. Once this mutually beneficial relationship was terminated because of Jiang Zhao's downfall, it would be difficult to find such a partner again. Most importantly, they had known each other since they were teenagers. No matter how they used each other, they trusted each other more than others. You're early today. It's rare. Looks like you slept well last night. Jiang Zhao smiled lightly. Zhuang Yichen also smiled. Jiang Zhao was still in the mood to tease him at a time like this. He couldn't even protect himself. How could he have the leisure to watch the storm? However, if he acted too impatient, it wouldn't be like Jiang Zhao. Except for the time when he was driven mad by Yunyi, he was still the Jiang Zhao he knew. Yes, I'm so good to you. Old Master and Commander haven't called you yet, right? If he hadn't been so early today, if Xiaoya hadn't gotten out of the car to buy tea eggs from the newspaper stand, he wouldn't have known what had happened until he arrived at the company. If that was the case, the people who told Jiang Zhao this news should be the elders of the Jiang and Qin families. Ha! Jiang Zhao closed the newspaper and laughed. Indeed, you're the best to me. However, my grandfather is doing morning exercises at this time. When he's doing Tai Chi, who dares to disturb him? My dad might be resting today. I don't think anyone dares to disturb him. Let's wait until 7 o'clock. My phone will start to explode at 7 o'clock. At the end of his sentence, his smile faded. He lifted his wrist and rolled up his sleeves. It seemed like time was going to pass very quickly. In the blink of an eye, he might be bombarded with phone calls one after another. Jiang Zhao's suit wasn't as gorgeous as Zhuang Yichen's. Other than the superior tailoring and material, it was mostly plain and calm. Although both of their suits were mainly dark, Zhuang Yichen's small collar was made of glossy silk. Moreover, only half of the collar was made of glossy silk. This kind of asymmetrical appearance suddenly stood out from the dull and monotonous suit and appeared more fashionable. Jiang Zhao folded the newspaper in his hand and put it on the side. Then, he sat on the edge of the chair. This way, half of his butt was on the chair. He leaned forward and stretched out his long arm. He pulled Zhuang Yichen's small collar gently with a smile in his eyes. Oh, not bad. I realize that the suits you often wear are better than mine. When I'm not an official, I can wear a suit like yours. Ha! I guess it's Qiu Xiaoya's taste. Anyway, before Qiu Xiaoya appeared a few years ago, your style of dressing was similar to mine. Jiang Zhao casually mentioned Xiaoya again. Zhuang Yichen lowered his head and looked at his collar where Jiang Zhao was holding. If he continued to hold it, it would wrinkle. He pretended to slap Jiang Zhao's hand away. Jiang Zhao opened his hands and sat back in his usual seat. He crossed his legs, leaned back, and shook his toes. Zhuang Yichen couldn't help but laugh. Looks like I'm looking for trouble. You are not anxious at all, but I'm anxious. Jiang Zhao shrugged his shoulders and casually teased Zhuang Yichen. Is this what they mean by, the emperor is not anxious, but the eunuch is anxious to death? No, it's more like the eunuch is not anxious, but the emperor is anxious to death. Ha! Zhuang Yichen didn't want to admit that he was a eunuch. Jiang Zhao didn't take it to heart. You're putting the cart before the horse. You're ruining the story. Zhuang Yichen sighed. It looks like Jiang Zhao had some thoughts that he didn't understand and couldn't discuss for the time being. There was no point in continuing. Forget it then. If you're not anxious, I'll leave first. Get out of the car. I don't want to send you to work. My car uses a lot of gas. It's not worth it. Okay. Then I'll leave first. Jiang Zhao opened the car door. Zhuang Yichen stopped him. Brother Zhao, are you giving up on yourself, or are you trying to turn the tables on her? He was indeed worried that Jiang Zhao seemed to have too many things on his mind recently. If he really didn't care about anything and went with the flow, that wouldn't be good. Wait until I find out who's messing with me first. Jiang Zhao said plainly. However, he couldn't help but tighten his grip on the door handle. He really couldn't let his guard down after being set up by someone. I'm afraid that by the time you find out who's behind it, you'll already be dismissed. Zhuang Yichen was telling the truth. Recess is not the end of school. Recess is not a 2-day break. The 2-day break is not a summer vacation. Even if it's a summer vacation, it doesn't mean that you'll graduate. There's no end to learning. Jiang Zhao laughed again, but Zhuang Yichen could hear the coldness in Jiang Zhao's laughter. The two of them had worked together for many years. He felt that he understood Jiang Zhao very well. Jiang Zhao's methods were not as ruthless as his, but that was only because Jiang Zhao's position didn't allow him to. Otherwise, if Jiang Zhao wasn't restricted by the Red Sect and his political power, he would have killed and robbed. There was nothing he wouldn't dare to do. Don't tell me you don't want me to find out who's behind this. Jiang Zhao shook his head. If it were any other matter, I would definitely ask you to investigate. However, this matter is so widespread that it's written about my relationship with my childhood sweetheart. It's not only to embarrass me, it's also to embarrass the well-bred Ouyang Yan. Tell me, after 7 o'clock, when my grandfather and brother Lai Qing see this kind of newspaper, won't they investigate? They'll definitely investigate, and they'll investigate openly. They won't necessarily be slower than you. I just don't want to waste resources. However, as Jiang Zhao said this, he placed his hand on the door handle back on his knee. When he knocked lightly, his handsome eyebrows furrowed slightly. However, after this matter is investigated, it's not convenient for me to do anything at home. I'm afraid I'll have to trouble you again. Ha! Zhuang Yichen was waiting for this sentence. As long as Jiang Zhao said this, it meant that he could say 2 words. Benefits? Benefits? Jiang Zhao laughed as freely as Zhuang Yichen. The benefits are that if I'm still in this position, I can still go to a higher position, and you'll have more benefits. But the downside? Jiang Zhao paused slightly, and his eyes flashed slyly like a fox. The downside is that if I step down from this position and can no longer sit in this position, Chen Tong won't be able to help you with Zhuang Yifeng's matter. Even if he's on the same side as you, it's impossible because I have the Qin family and the Jiang family behind me, and he's only Chen Tong. And all the hard work you've put in this area will be in vain. Zhuang Yichen took a deep breath, but he didn't show any disappointment. He had been talking to Jiang Zhao, who was sitting on the left side of the back seat. At this time, he sat up straight and looked ahead. Looks like it's a big benefit. At this time, Jiang Zhao's phone rang sharply. He glanced at the caller ID and said to Zhuang Yichen, "Contact me if there's anything." Welfare, Xinwu 799. Chapter 597. After getting out of the car, he picked up the phone. Hello, Dad. You little bastard. Jiang Liqing's voice went through the phone like a detonator exploding. Jiang Zhao walked to his parking space with his briefcase in one hand and took the phone away from his ear. When he heard no more shouting, he took it back. You are really a bastard. In the Jiang family, the words, little bastard, and wolf, were the pet words of the elders. They had the privilege to talk back. No matter what kind of bastard he is still your bastard. That was a big deal. Even if he was in his 20s, he might slap the back of his neck. Dad, what do you think we should do? When the atmosphere was relaxed, Jiang Zhao called Jiang Liqing, brother Liqing. In fact, Jiang Zhao's EQ was higher than his younger brother in this aspect. At least on the surface, he didn't look as rebellious as Jiang Feng. However, when he wanted to achieve his goal, it was often easier. He called Jiang Liqing Dad at this time. Firstly, it meant that the situation was serious. Secondly, he threw the initiative to Jiang Liqing. It seemed that he was at his disposal, but in fact, he was seeking Jiang Liqing's protection. Jiang Zhao always admitted that he didn't get to where he was today at such a young age by himself. It wasn't because of his talent and intelligence. He wouldn't be arrogant to that extent. So, he told Zhuang Yichen that he had the Qin family and the Jiang family behind him. This was not the attitude of the third generation of a rich family, but a realistic analysis of his own advantages. What should we do? You can do this kind of thing, and you are telling me what to do. You bastard. Jiang Liqing had to scold him in every sentence to vent his anger. He couldn't figure out how he could have such a son. Before he got married, he often appeared in the headlines with some female stars, but it was also something that didn't have an end. Even if it had an end, so what? He was a businessman. How could Jiang Zhao be the same? Jiang Zhao was a politician, and what he was most afraid of was not going down the wrong path. Now, not only was his reputation tarnished, even his family Ouyang's daughter could not go out to meet people. In a place like the army, there were indeed many sons of people of his age who did not live up to expectations. However, he was different. Although Jiang Feng was a little rebellious when he was young, he did not cause any big trouble. At most, he loved to play. Now, his career abroad was doing well and he would be back soon. He felt that it was honorable to talk about it. Needless to say, Jiang Zhao had been developing very well. No one would jump out and say that he was not up to par. When it was necessary to be tough, he would be tough. In politics, many people wanted to catch this son of his who had risen quickly, but no one could do so. Everyone said that Jiang Zhao was a strict person who followed the law. Not to mention a persimmon chief, even a section chief had many mistresses and prostitutes. People in the circle would also talk about it. But who had ever talked about Jiang Zhao's scandal? Even if you wanted to, you could not find it. He had always been very gratified. Now, the good reputation he had built for so many years was all ruined. And they had only been married for a few months. Dad, I'll let you scold me for 3 more minutes. Let's talk about business. Jiang Zhao did not change his tone. He sighed and walked to his car. He took out the key, pressed the lock, sat in the car, pulled the door, started the car, and warmed it up. Jiang Liqing's voice became louder. You bastard, you are still in the right. Jiang Zhao imagined that his father must have made the call in the office next to the conference room in the army. There were some voices just now. Probably someone had shown him the newspaper. He suddenly felt ashamed. At this time, his back must be straight and his head raised. He must be so angry that his face turned red. He held the phone and scolded with one hand and supported his waist with the other hand to increase his momentum. Thinking of his father's look, Jiang Zhao suddenly smiled. Jiang Zhao had 3 minutes to scold him. Jiang Zhao did not speak. He just looked at his watch. Listening to Jiang Liqing's scolding and roaring, he began to sort out the lines in his mind. These bastards from the Jiang family. None of them are easy to deal with. I think only Jiang Ji is easy to deal with, unlike you. You have been bad since you were young. Jiang Liqing was always like this. He would always look forward. When you were young, you only knew how to gamble with your brother in school. One gambled, and the other went out. When you came home, you lied to your grandpa that your brother gave you extra lessons. The 2 of you shared the loot secretly, you bastard. You and Jiang Rui are both bastards. You have been up to no good since you were young. Jiang Rui was better than you in elementary school. What about you? You especially changed the marks. Except for the final marks, when did you not change them? You even changed the marks of the homework for the usual tests. You even dared to imitate my signature to hand in the homework. You even dared to imitate my signature to write excellent. Tell me, what good things have you done since you were young? Jiang Zhao sighed softly. He was suffering from Alzheimer's. He couldn't forget these things even if he wanted to, because his father would always bring up the things that happened when he was young. Whenever there was a competition, it was a must to bring up the past. Think about it yourself. Have you ever made others worry since you were young? When you were young, you climbed the wall of someone else's house with your brother to steal peaches. You even brought your brother to steal peaches. Also, after you came to Haicheng, your grades were good. You suddenly became a god from the god of plague in elementary school. When you were great, you started to let others copy your homework. When they copied yours, you still wanted to collect money. You even helped others cheat to make money. If these things were spread out, they would say that I, Jiang Liqing, did not give you pocket money. You have been embarrassing me since you were young. Jiang Zhao did not refute. How could he not feel embarrassed? The Jiang family was considered a big rich family. There were 4 brothers in the family. Which one of them had enough pocket money when they were young? If it was enough, would Big Brother have gambled? Would he have extorted money from Big Brother? Would he sell his homework? Would he sell his answers? They also said that one could be strong without desires. He did not know what those guys were thinking. Fian had blamed him many times and said, "Brother, since you came to Haicheng, Grandpa started to cut off my pocket money. He said that he wanted to learn from you and not be allowed to be a playboy. It's all your fault. My pocket is now empty." He clearly had no choice, but in the end, he became the main culprit. Jiang Zhao listened to Jiang Liqing's accusations and raised his wrist to look at the time. It was as if he was listening to a radio broadcast. He felt that to be able to hear his father say these things at this time was more interesting than a talk show. Oh, so he was so wicked when he was young. But how did he suddenly become a gentleman dressed like a beast? The phone suddenly went silent. Jiang Zhao waited for a while. Jiang Liqing still did not speak, so he laughed and asked, "Dad, it hasn't even been 3 minutes and you're already done talking about my great achievements?" Jiang Liqing's throat was smoking from anger. "Bastard! Can't I even drink some water?" "Slow down, I'll wait for you." Jiang Zhao waited for Jiang Liqing to lose his temper. He was used to it and knew that he could not talk back or argue with his father when he was angry. He could only go along with him and let it go after this. Jiang Liqing also looked at his watch. It had not been 3 minutes, so he was not in the mood to continue scolding. He picked up the tea that the guard had made for him and took a sip. Instantly, his throat felt better. "Jiang Zhao, tell me, is it because you can't let go of that family Ouyang girl?" "Dad, do you believe me? You're my son. If I don't believe you, who should I believe?" "Dad, let me tell you, other than the things that happened between me and Yun Yun in the past, the rest are all nonsense." "What do you think?" "Nonsense?" Jiang Liqing straightened his back and slammed the teacup in his hand on the desk. With a bang, the guard outside the door thought that something had been smashed and was very worried. He did not dare to enter the office and could only wait for orders. "Motherf **Ker, who dares to write gossip about my son?" Jiang Liqing joined the army early. At that time, the people who joined the army were generally not as cultured as the current ones. Moreover, the soldiers were actually quite loyal. They were no different from those in the underworld. They were nothing more than people who killed people for their belongings and trampled on them for their belongings. After Jiang Liqing married Qin Zhen, who was a well-bred lady, did not like vulgar men. She did not like Jiang Liqing's swearing. At that time, Jiang Liqing had a sweetheart and did not care about Qin Zhen's feelings. He said whatever he wanted. Later, after they divorced, he did not say anything. If Jiang Liqing even cursed out, "Motherf **Ker, it meant that his internal organs were on fire. "Dad, it's really nonsense. There's nothing I don't dare to admit. After I married Yunyi, I never thought of having another woman outside. You've been through it, right? Even if we had a relationship in the past, after marriage, the wife is the wife, and the ex is the ex. As men of the Jiang family, How can we mess around with this kind of thing? Jiang Zhao easily dragged Jiang Liqing into the water. He knew very well about his parents' past. When his parents got married, it was more or less arranged. Jiang Liqing said, "Don't compare it to my matter. At that time, I was in a different era from you. How advanced is the information technology now? How isolated were we back then? At that time, things like this would at most be solved by sitting together at home. Is it possible now? I only found out when the newspapers were out." Dad. Jiang Zhao felt that he would rather listen to Jiang Liqing scold people. He did not know if it was because his family background was too good that he was so fearlessly stalling for time. "You can investigate this matter slowly. Or should I investigate it myself? You want me to clean up your mess? Then I'll have a meeting in the morning and start investigating in the afternoon." Bastard. You still have the face to go to a meeting? I'll investigate it. Jiang Zhao smiled. "Thank you for your hard work, brother Liqing. You impudent bastard. Just you wait. When we get home tonight, I'll break your legs. Artificial limbs are too expensive. Even if you're rich, you shouldn't waste it like this." Jiang Zhao was still fooling around recklessly. "I'm so angry. I'm hanging up." As soon as Jiang Zhao hung up, Ouyang Yen called, Beauty Novel, Hengcha 866. Chapter 598. Jiang Zhao looked at the Ouyang Yan's call. He really wasn't in the mood to drive, so he simply leaned against the pillow to rest. He picked up the call. "Hello." Ouyang Yan heard the slight distance in Jiang Zhao's voice. She waited for a moment, but Jiang Zhao didn't call her Yun Yun. "Second brother, did you see the newspaper? What should we do?" Ouyang Yan's gentle voice sounded a little probing and aggrieved. To the ears of others, it sounded like she was compromising and weak. And Jiang Zhao knew whether Ouyang Yan was weak or not. If she was gentle, she looked really gentle. If she was stubborn, she was really stubborn. "Yun Yun, come out and explain yourself. After that, I hope you can move out of the northern part of the city." Jiang Zhao's eyes were closed, so his expression couldn't be seen clearly. His voice was lazy, as though he was extremely tired. His tone couldn't be deciphered, but he said clearly, "Move out." When Ouyang Yan called him, he suddenly thought of a problem. Previously, he was worried about how much this matter would affect his future, and who was the mastermind behind this matter. If the family's power couldn't suppress this matter, how much damage would it cause to him and the family in the future? But now, he was worried about how much this matter would affect his family. How much would it affect his and Yi Er's small family? The last time he got drunk, it was Yi Er who dragged him home from Ouyang Yan's place. When Yi Er lifted his blanket, he didn't even take off his clothes. Yi Er actually knew in his heart. Last night, when Yi Er was injured, he sent Yi Er back to the hospital. Yi Er also knew very well. Those things in the past really happened, and he couldn't deny it. But it was a little too complicated to write about his love history in such a sensational way. He didn't even feel that it was so soul-stirring. Why did it become such a tear-jerking love story when it was written by a reporter? What would Yi Er think when she saw these words? He was actually looking forward to seeing her reaction. He didn't know why, but even at a time like this, he still wanted to see her agitated reaction, criticism, and complaints. He actually hoped that it would be Yi Er who suggested that Ouyang Yan move out of the northern part of the city, but she never mentioned it. If she didn't care, why would she mind that his ex-girlfriend was living in his house? "What did you say?" Ouyang Yan exclaimed in surprise. "I said you should move out of the northern part of the city. If you really think it's close to work, I can get the security guard to help you find a place to rent. You don't have to live in my place. Actually, you know, this matter." Ouyang Yan's voice was a little choked up. "Are you regretting letting me live in the house? Was today's incident all because of me? Brother Er, can you speak with some conscience? I was the one who asked to borrow the house from you, but you were drunk that time. If I hadn't brought you to the northern part of the city to rest, what would have happened if someone else saw you like that? I was the one who asked you out yesterday, but it's your fault for not taking a picture of Yi Er. How can you blame it on me alone? Now that the matter is out, instead of thinking about how to solve it, you're blaming it on me alone. Is it fair for you to treat me like this? Jiang Zhao didn't refute. He didn't need to discuss what was fair and what was unfair with a woman who had been involved in psychological warfare with all sorts of suspects and criminals for a long time. Right now, he didn't have the intention to pursue who was in the right or wrong. He simply wanted to avoid as much trouble as possible. The person who is the most unfair in this matter is your sister-in-law. Have you ever thought about how she feels about what was written in the newspaper? She was just using you. She doesn't love you. How can she feel? If you don't believe me, ask her. Ask her if she feels anything. Yang Yan's hysteria made Jiang Zhao frown. However, his eyes were still closed. Occasionally, his eyelashes fluttered slightly to show his emotions. Yun, have you ever thought that you're really meddling too much? Since before we got married, you've been saying that she doesn't love me and that we're not suitable for each other. At that time, I said in front of so many people at home that whether she loves me or not is between me and her. Actually, you have no right to interfere. Jiang Zhao suddenly opened his eyes. When he looked ahead, his eyes narrowed slightly. Yun, what do you think is the best way to solve this matter? Yang Yan was silent for a while. She seemed to feel guilty. I haven't thought of it yet. Jiang Zhao slowly opened his eyes. The fog in the winter morning was thick and heavy. However, the weather seemed to be good today. They could already feel the golden sunlight passing through part of the fog, giving the sky above their heads a colorful halo. Yun, do as I say. Move out. Yang Yan took a deep breath. Okay, let me look for a house on my own. There's no need to ask the guards for help. They already know each other. I can ask them about it when the time comes. Jiang Zhao chuckled. The guards over there won't go so far as to ask about the residents' privacy. However, if you really mind, then forget it. It's settled then. We can talk about other things later. I'll contact you if there's any situation. The two of them said a few words and hung up the phone. Jiang Zhao felt that he had done everything he could, but Yang Yan felt that Jiang Zhao was heartless and heartless. Qing Su got out of bed, walked to the table by the window, and sat down. Min Hongsheng took the thermos from the servant and opened it. The delicious aroma of the peanut porridge floated out. During her illness, Qing Su had to avoid a lot of food. Otherwise, she would like to eat the deep-fried dough sticks fried with alum. It was poisonous, but it was okay to eat a little. She could occasionally satisfy her cravings. The most important thing was that deep-fried dough sticks with alum were fluffy and fragrant. Ever since Qing Su fell ill, Min Hongsheng wanted to do everything for her personally. When he thought of how badly she was injured that day, the criminal investigator said that the way she drove was suicidal. Suicide. At that moment, Min Hongsheng's tears flowed out. He didn't know what else he couldn't satisfy for Qing Su. He didn't even have the heart to say a harsh word to her. He would give her whatever she wanted. He would even give her whatever she didn't want. In fact, he had treated this daughter better than he had his son. Suicide. He really couldn't understand why his daughter wanted to commit suicide. When he thought of the hard times she and her mother had gone through and what the criminal investigator said, his heart ached so much that he couldn't sleep well at night. He took care of her personally to make up for the years he owed them. Later, he thought about it carefully. His daughter still refused to change her surname. She would turn hostile at the mention of it. Perhaps it was because her feelings for her mother were too deep that she refused to abandon the surname Liu. Actually, he was too subjective. As her father, he had never been involved in his daughter's past. Her mother was the one who did all the hard work. How could she be willing to take his surname? Actually, it was good that her surname was Liu. It was really good. He didn't want to talk to her about changing her surname anymore. He packed the porridge and handed it to Qing-su. Then, as if he remembered something, he took it back and said, "Aya, Daddy will blow it for you. It's too hot." When his son was young, he had also fed him, but this daughter, he had never taken care of her for even a day. Thinking of this, his heart felt a burst of sorrow. Qing-su had always treated Min Hongsheng's care as heir. She snatched the bowl from his hand and lowered her head to blow at it. "I can't even do this. I might as well kill myself." Min Hongsheng almost mistook her for Min Zikai and slapped her on the head, but just as he raised his hand, he paused. "Spit, spit, spit. You're not allowed to say such inauspicious things again." After saying that, she tugged on Qing-su's ear and muttered, "Duan duan, duan duan, tug on the ear. It's not a big deal." Qing-su slapped Min Hongsheng's hand away. "You're so superstitious. Let me eat." "Okay, you eat. I'll ask the nurse to get today's newspaper. It's Friday today. By the way, I'll ask the doctor if you can go out for a walk. Dad will take you out for a walk." Qing-su didn't say anything, so Min Hongsheng did as he said. However, when he opened the newspaper and read it, he began to talk to himself in shock. "Aya, the heavens have eyes. Jiang Zhao is done for this time. I don't know who he offended, but he's so unlucky to be with that girl from the family Ouyang so openly." Qing-su turned her head. "What did you say? Jiang Zhao and that girl from the family Ouyang?" Qing-su wasn't familiar with the socialites in High City. She didn't fit in with these people. She didn't want to mix in, and she didn't want to ask about it. "Yeah, it's full of pictures and text. It's not a lie." Min Hongsheng took the newspaper and showed it to Qing-su, who seemed to be very interested. Qing-su was fine when she didn't read it, but after reading line by line, she was a little angry. How can this be? Jiang Zhao and Sister Yi Er have only been married for a few months. How can he do such a shameless thing? Is Sister Yi Er dead? Last night? How long has it been since the patient woke up? She's already with the old Qing dynasty. I couldn't tell that Jiang Zhao was such a bad guy. I thought he was quite concerned about Sister Yi Er. You can't see through a man like Jiang Zhao. Don't be fooled by him. Dad isn't on the same page as him." Min Hongsheng couldn't help but admit that he couldn't wait for Jiang Zhao to fall. Otherwise, if Jiang Zhao stood on the Yun family's side, things would be difficult in the future. After all, family Min had contributed to the Yun family's downfall. "I don't care about those things. I have to go find Sister Yi Er." Qing-su rolled up the newspaper and stood up. "Qing-su, you haven't finished eating. I'll eat when I come back." Qing-su left her room and went next door. It was still a little early. When she knocked on the door, Yi Er seemed to be still asleep and didn't respond to Qing-su. The hospital's doors were usually not locked unless there was a special reason. This was to make it easier for the nurses to come in and check at any time. Qing-su knocked twice. When no one responded, she pushed the door open and went in. As expected, Yi Er was still asleep. With Qing-su's personality, she couldn't hide anything. She didn't care whether Yi Er was sick or not. She shook her awake and directly placed the newspaper in front of her. "You're still sleeping. How can you still sleep? Your husband already cheated on you, and you're still sleeping like a pig." Yi Er was feeling uncomfortable from being pushed by Qing-su. She was too tired last night and took some medicine. She was fine after taking the medicine, but she was so tired that she wanted to sleep as soon as she lay down on the bed. When she thought of the bed leg, she felt like it was filled with lead. She didn't want to wake up. Add Shinwu 799. Chapter 599. She had been responding to Qing-su in a daze, but what did she say? Her husband cheated on her. Yi Er suddenly sat up from the bed. As soon as she sat up, she felt dizzy. She knew that she shouldn't sit up immediately after waking up, otherwise, there would be insufficient blood supply to the brain and cause dizziness. But this time, she couldn't control it. She was so dizzy that she wanted to immediately lie down and rub her head, but she grabbed the newspaper in Ching Su's hand. The newspaper made a cha-cha-cha sound. Yi Er was looking for it anxiously. Ching Su reached out to flip it for her. Luo, take a look. Take a look for yourself. Ching Su was a gangster when she was young. She was occasionally polite, but that was because she felt that she liked the person. She would give the person some benefits appropriately. As they got closer, she would throw away the fake politeness she learned from the rich. At this time, she was scolding Yi Er as if she was educating a child who expected better from her. Look at yourself. What kind of person did you marry? He is still an official. If he was a businessman, wouldn't he be creating gossip every day? I say, you're really too much. You just let him do whatever he wants. You've only been married for a few months. If it were me, I would cripple him. Ching Su was still young and didn't understand love. She didn't understand Yi Er's sour and sharp pain at this time. It wasn't because the reporter described Jiang Zhao's betrayal, but because she remembered clearly the last time she called Jiang Zhao. Yang Yan answered the phone. When she found Jiang Zhao, he smelled of alcohol and didn't even take off his clothes. Yesterday, she was injured. The first thing she did when she woke up was to ask him the time. She was afraid that he and Yang Yan had been together. If it was only these 2 times, she felt that the reporter was exaggerating. But when she saw the story of his and Yang Yan's past, Yi Er couldn't help but cry as she read. A pair of young lovers who had been together since they were 15 or 16 years old. They didn't leave each other all the way through junior high school, and university. Many young men and women who yearned for love were blocked out by their persistence. Childhood sweethearts were scourges, and the scourge was rooted in Ocean University. This pair of childhood sweethearts in other people's mouths didn't need to swear an oath of undying love. In the years since Yang Yan left, no other woman had appeared by Jiang Zhao's side. And her Yunyi had become an unexpected accident. The reporter said that the secret behind this was really unknown. But Yi Er knows. How did she end up marrying Jiang Zhao? She snatched Yang Yan's opportunity and forced him into the teeth of the storm. When she did that, she had already made up her mind. Unless Jiang Zhao wanted to kill her or ruin her reputation, he could only marry her. Jiang Zhao was not as ruthless as she had expected. She was very glad that a night as husband and wife meant endless devotion for the rest of their lives. But in the face of Jiang Zhao's feelings for Yang Yan, Yi Er fell back and clutched the newspaper tightly. Silent tears fell like rain. The more she thought about the content of the newspaper, the more she felt that her future was hopeless. She couldn't see it at all. She was thinking about how long she could hold on. Everyone had a limit. No one was willing to tolerate their husband having another woman outside. But she could bear it. She had to bear it because she couldn't afford to lose this marriage and lose him. She tried her best to kill time for him. She tried everything to make him spend more time with her. In the past, when she took care of Si Jie, she learned to cook a lot of dishes in order to let Si Jie eat more. After they got married, she learned even more. She told him every day what was delicious that night and how unique the cooking was. She hoped that he would come home for dinner. He came as scheduled. She had hope in her heart. But some people said that the one thing a man could never forget was his first love. And the roots of Yang Yan's first love were so deep. Even she, an outsider, couldn't help but weep when she saw them go through hardships together. Let alone this pair of people from the Qing dynasty. She had always been unwilling to ask about their past. Even if Tsing Tingting took the initiative to tell her, she wasn't willing to listen or remember. If she didn't know, she wouldn't care. Yi Er held her forehead and looked at the ceiling. But she was Mrs. Jiang. Yang Yan was now a mistress. But what if this matter pushed them too far? What if they admitted it? What should she do? No. She definitely couldn't give them such a chance. A day as husband and wife, 100 days of grace. How many days had she been husband and wife with Jiang Zhao? She couldn't count the number of days of grace in the remaining days. Why should she let them be like this? Jiang Zhao was hers. Qing Su couldn't understand her forbearance and pain. But Qing Su hated men who had a foot in two boats. One side was warm and fragrant, and the other side was in the arms of a beauty. What kind of happiness was this? He was simply a beast. Yi Er. She slowly calmed down and sat up on the bed. She took a tissue and wiped the water stains on her face. Lulu, how did you react when you saw the newspaper? Qing Su said, I'm furious. Where did you see the newspaper? My dad gave it to me. How did your dad react when he saw it? Qing Su thought for a while. My dad said that Jiang Zhao is done for this time. The premonition bomb that had been exploding in Yi's mind exploded with a bang. It exploded. That's right. Now, it was not about the love history between Ouyang Yan and Jiang Zhao. It was about Jiang Zhao being done for. The deputy mayor was not the deputy mayor. This kind of problem was fatal. Moreover, because Jiang Zhao was young and handsome, women looked at him like he was a celebrity. All these years, there were no scandals about him. He was simply the ideal marriage partner in the hearts of the women in High City. This had unknowingly formed the power of an idol. But now, this idol had a problem with his style. Yi Er picked up her phone from the bedside table and turned it on. She told Qing Su that she wanted to go back and rest first. Qing Su refused and refused to leave. She promised that she would not make any sound when Yi Er was on the phone. She also promised to keep her secret. Yi Er always knew that Qing Su and family Min did not get along well. Moreover, Qing Su had saved her life before. So, she trusted her more than others. So, she let Qing Su sit on her bed. While waiting for the phone to turn on, she held her phone tightly. The pale color on her fingernails showed how difficult it was for her to do so. When the signal was full, she dialed Jiang Zhao's number. Jiang Zhao looked at Yi Er's incoming call. He sat up straight and picked it up. Hello, Yunyi. Hubby. Yi Er was still like this. She tried to make her voice sound normal. You're not sleeping anymore. I saw the newspaper. Ah. Jiang Zhao's back suddenly straightened. He did not know why, but he was inexplicably excited. This abnormal excitement made him look forward to Yi Er's reaction. Uh-huh, I saw it too. What do you plan to do? Me? Jiang Zhao was stunned. Shouldn't she be angry? Yi Er did not understand why Jiang Zhao was still like this. Wasn't he worried at all? Or could it be that this was an opportunity for him and Ouyang Yan? Ah Zhao, uh-huh. I don't think this matter is good for you. No matter what, we should stand out together and explain this matter. Don't you think so? How do you want to explain it? Jiang Zhao smiled slightly. Yi Er was stumped by this question. How should she explain it? To be honest, she was the one who dragged him home from Ouyang Yan's bed at the apartment in the northern part of the city. They did not even have time to do anything before she dragged him home. Yesterday, she was injured because she wanted to ruin their plans. I think we should discuss this matter with Ouyang Yan. She has feelings for you. She wouldn't want to hurt you, right? As long as the three of us deny that what was written in the newspaper is false, it shouldn't cause any trouble. Don't you think so? You're still so young, yet your words sound so convincing. Then tell me, how should the three of us explain this? Jiang Zhao tempted Yi Er step by step, hoping to get some of the answers he wanted from her mouth. You can discuss it with Ouyang Yan. Ask her to say that there's nothing going on between you and her. After that, I will say that all of you are innocent. Okay. Yi Er actually did not have any experience in this area. She felt that as long as the three of them insisted on this matter, there would definitely be no problem. However, she was unable to persuade Ouyang Yan, so she could only rely on Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao sighed. Why do you want me to talk to her? The public will surely insist that the three of us had discussed this matter beforehand. Don't you think so? No matter how we explain, it will be a cover-up. The public will think we are treating them like idiots. Also, at this time, they will think that I am the deputy mayor, and she is working in the procuratorate. If both of us admit to our relationship, then there must be something wrong with our brains. Do you think there's any use in explaining to the public? What Jiang Zhao said was the truth. Moreover, if someone wanted to mess with him, even if this matter seemed to have calmed down, the mastermind behind the scenes would definitely stir up more waves and make this matter a laughingstock again. Moreover, this was not the only matter he had now. If Yi stood up, there would definitely be people who would slowly point the finger at Yi and Yun Hongwei. The medical parole period was too long. Yi felt uncomfortable when she heard Jiang Zhao's honest words. Explaining is a cover-up. What's wrong with him? He doesn't even want to explain himself. Does he really want to use this opportunity to divorce her? Yi got angry and hung up on Jiang Zhao. She shouldn't have called Jiang Zhao and made herself suffer. Thinking that it was really hard to calm down, she immediately called Xia Qian. After the call was connected, she sobbed with grievance. Qian, you must help me this time. Aren't you working in the media? Can you help me get in touch with someone useful? I want to hold a press conference. Xia Qian sounded like she was running. She was panting on the other end of the phone. You are such a good-for-nothing. My sister called me early in the morning to tell me about this. She asked me to look for you later so as not to disturb your rest. Wait for me. I will look for someone now. I don't believe that I can't teach this couple a lesson. Yi hung up the phone with Xia Qian and began to put on her clothes. Now, she felt more and more that it was important to have a few close friends. When she needed help, Zheng Ling shamelessly helped her drug the government officials. When she wanted to snatch the custody of her younger brother, Zheng Ling took out the share transfer agreement. No matter what the result was, although she didn't want those shares, Zheng Ling really wanted to help her. Awesome Novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 600. Xia Qian and Xiaoye were very loyal to their friends. Even Qing Su would stand up for her the first time when her family was in trouble and speak up for her. Friends were an indispensable part of life. After today's incident, she was even more determined not to listen to Jiang Zhao. She must have her own friends, true friends. She wore a black and gray knee-length coat with a mature design and color. She wore a pair of dark-colored trousers and 3 pairs of shoes in the shoe cabinet. Jiang Zhao had asked someone to bring them over. She chose a pair of black high-heeled boots and put on some light makeup. She touched the gauze on the back of her head and let her hair down. She fixed the belt of her coat in front of the mirror and straightened her back. She told Qing Su to have a good rest. Qing Su was young and liked to play. Although she did not want to play with the children of rich families, she did not want to play with the people she cared about. Yi was unwilling. Qing Su had injured her lungs and internal organs. She was not like her. In the end, when the doctors and nurses did not allow Qing Su to leave the hospital, they stopped Qing Su from acting rashly. The news of the mayor's affair was very shocking. So, under Xiaoye's guidance, Xia Qian used, "The mayor's wife will give a one-sided response to this morning's news," as a gimmick. They found many reporters from various TV stations and within 30 minutes, all of them arrived at the College of Communication. Xia Qian said that they could not find such a big place elsewhere, so they found the college's auditorium. Yi immediately kissed Xia Qian a few times over the phone. When they arrived at the hospital, they called for a taxi. Xia Qian snorted and said, "Our deputy director wanted to take advantage of me, but I actually ignored him the whole time." He was about to go bald, and his head was shiny as if it was smeared with lard. However, My sister told me to seduce him, but I couldn't let him get close. I had to act coquettishly from a distance and ask him to borrow the auditorium. At first, I didn't want to go, but my sister said that if I couldn't do it, then I was useless. If I let that man take advantage of me, then I shouldn't work in the media industry anymore. She said that it was because the circle was dirty. In fact, a good-looking woman would attract dirty things in any circle. If she couldn't even deal with men, her career wouldn't be able to continue. You have to reap the benefits and not let the men take advantage of you. Only then can you survive in this circle. Because in the future, when you interview someone, the other party might want to touch you. It all depends on your own alertness. That's why I went to Seo, our vice president. I also know that my future path will be more difficult. I have to adapt to it first. After saying this, Xia Qian smiled shyly, but this shyness was a little unnatural. After listening for a while, Yi Er felt that the main point of such a long speech wasn't the deputy director's baldness, nor was it the deputy director's desire to take advantage of Xia Qian, nor was it Xiaoye teaching Xia Qian how to deal with men. Suddenly, she slapped her thigh and said, Xia Qian, you said a few hundred words in a roundabout way just to tell me that I'm beautiful, right? Yi Er, you just figured it out. Shouldn't you have figured it out a long time ago? Xia Qian immediately laughed out loud. What are you laughing at? I'm not in the mood to laugh with you. I'm hanging up. Wait for me over there. The gray fog was getting lighter, and the sunlight was getting brighter and brighter. It was so bright that everything around them was getting clearer. In a fit of anger, Yi Er had asked Xia Qian to help organize a press conference. Indeed, she didn't know the industry, and other than Xia Qian, no one else could do this. At this time, sitting in the taxi, the windows were tightly shut, and the air conditioner was on. If it was in the past, it would definitely make people sleepy. But now, she pressed down the window, allowing the cold air to rush in unscrupulously through the window and into her exposed pores. 20 years old. She was going to be 20 years old soon. But she was not a child. She told herself several times in her heart, Yunyi, you are no longer a child. You have not been a child since you were 17 years old. You are an older sister, a father, and a mother. Now, you are even more so. You are already a wife, and you are not an ordinary wife. Your man is not an ordinary man. Don't be like a shrew. Although you are a down-and-out daughter, you must remember the taboos of decency. Don't forget everything in a fit of passion. The driver in the front seat couldn't see Yi Er's face clearly. He saw that she was wearing a hat and a scarf pulled up high, only revealing her eyes. He thought that she was a young lady who was afraid of the cold. But he couldn't say anything because the passenger seemed to be thinking about something. He silently turned off the air conditioner in the car. The cold wind blew in, and Yi Er breathed in the air through her nose. One moment, it felt fresh, and the next, it smelled bad. Yun Hongwei finally called. Yi Er knew that her family would know about this. It was only a matter of time. She picked up. Dad. Yi Er felt that she should at least pretend to be calm. Yi Er, even though Yun Hongwei was a man, after seeing that his daughter's marriage was not happy, he couldn't help but choke up. Just as he expected, his daughter was not happy. She had only been married for a short while, and her husband was already fooling around with the Qing dynasty. Not to mention Yi Er, even he felt depressed when he saw those things. Yi Er straightened her back and sat up straight. This way, her voice would sound more confident. Yi Er had a maturity that didn't match her age. Perhaps she was used to comforting her younger brother, but when it came to comforting her father, it was easy. Her gaze shifted to the front seat and glanced at the driver. Then she turned her head again and stared out the window. Dad, I'm outside right now, so it's not convenient for me to explain it to you. But I believe in him, so you have to believe in him too. We both know the ways of this industry. Can you be more rational? Yi Er, Dad is just sad. Why are you, Dad? It's all a misunderstanding. We will resolve this matter. Don't worry about it. Don't forget to pick up Sijia in the afternoon. Yun Hongwei didn't say anything else. He worriedly said, okay. Yi Er hung up the phone and turned it off. She didn't want to be questioned anymore. She was annoyed enough. She let out a long sigh. The car drove faster, and the wind hit her face hard. The white gas she exhaled disappeared instantly. Jiang Zhao frowned when he received a call from Zhuang Yichen. Yi Er had hung up on him and was feeling depressed. He sat in the car in a daze and didn't drive out of the parking lot. When Zhuang Yichen called, it interrupted his train of thought. He realized that he had really given up on himself for a short period of time. But it was only temporary. This psychological hint passed very quickly. Zhuang Yichen said, Brother Zhao, congratulations. Mrs. Jiang got Xia Qian to set up a press conference. It's going to be held in the auditorium of University City's Media College. She's already there. Jiang Zhao's eyes suddenly widened. Press conference? What's that? Yeah, I just found out that Xia Qian got her. Brother Zhao, it's not that I want to criticize you, but you shouldn't have schemed against me back then. You even wanted to use Xia Qian and Qiu Shaoye to suppress me. How could that be possible? Now you're the one who got yourself into trouble, aren't you? Mrs. Jiang has finally found an ally. When these women are together, they're not easy to deal with at all. Zhuang Yichen felt that there was a banquet tonight, so he had to get Qiu Shaoye to prepare a suit. Although she was the one who prepared the suit every time, he was still used to going there to try it on. He was used to watching her pick up the lapels one by one and compare them to his chest before saying, this color is not bad. The texture matches the material of the suit very well. In the end, he accidentally heard Xia Qian reporting the good news. He didn't want to listen in, but Qiu Shaoye sneaked into the inner office to answer the call. She was getting more and more daring. What phone call couldn't he listen in on? He knew everything about her family. Could it be Kang Yian? Did she think that just because she slept with him last night, she could have a foot in both camps today? He walked into her office openly and heard her say, that's how it should be. Good job. I wish you all the best. Be careful and look for me if you need anything. When she saw him enter, she immediately hung up. After a long interrogation on the table, she finally told him the truth. Jiang Zhao's head was about to explode. Why didn't she discuss it with him? What the hell was she up to? He quickly said, okay. I'll hang up first. I'll contact you later. After hanging up, he immediately called Yi Er. Unexpectedly, Yi Er's phone was turned off. Jiang Zhao rubbed his face. Yes, Zhuang Yichen said that she went to the auditorium of the College of Communication in University City. He started the car. The hypnosis from just now quickly passed. He was now very worried that Yi Er would mess everything up. He was very worried that she would hold a press conference for no reason and push their marriage to an irreversible cliff. He called Lu Cheng and gave him some instructions before driving to the University City. Boys of Yunwa's age rarely liked to read newspapers as much as he did. After the heart transplant, he would look for books to read whenever he had nothing to do. Whether it was newspapers or magazines, he would use them to pass the time. The footsteps on the treadmill in the gym were fast and steady. NU was bare-chested and only wore a pair of underwear. Sweat flowed down his seductive figure and wet the waistband of his pants. The speed of the treadmill gradually slowed down as he stepped on the rubber track. He let out a long breath and got off the treadmill. He took a towel from the helper and wiped the sweat off his face before entering the bathroom. Unwoo came out of the bathroom. Although his hair was still wet and dripping with water, he was obviously much more refreshed now. He wore white home clothes and looked indifferent as if he was untainted by the world. He left the gym and went to the dining room. Shi Jintian was not there yet. There was breakfast and newspapers on the dining table. This was Shi Jintian's habit. He liked to read the newspaper during breakfast, while Unwoo liked to read it after breakfast. But today was an exception. The big black words and photos on the front page were too attractive. Just a slight glance was enough to attract his attention. He grabbed the newspaper and quickly opened it. He didn't know if he should be happy or unhappy at this moment. Jiang Zhao cared about someone else. If things got out of hand, wouldn't they be able to get a divorce? Deep down, he had always thought that Jiang Zhao had feelings for Yi Er. Otherwise, why would he care so much about his existence? When Yi Er was in trouble, Jiang Zhao was worried. He guarded her every day and didn't let him go to see her. He had always thought that Jiang Zhao was a strong opponent who blocked his path. But now, Jiang Zhao wanted to eat from the bowl while looking at the pot. Or was he just fighting for the sake of fighting? But how could a person like Jiang Zhao be so easily caught by others? If he wanted to keep a woman, did he need to keep her in his own apartment? And everyone knew that Jiang Zhao lived there. Awesome novel, Hengcha 866. Chapter 601. He took out his phone and dialed Yi Er's number. She said her phone was switched off. Did she see the newspapers? Yu stood up from his seat and quickly walked back to the villa. He went upstairs to his room, changed out of his home clothes, and put on his outdoor clothes. He draped his coat over his arm and got into the car. He started the car and drove towards the private hospital Yi Er was staying at. Yi Er arrived at the auditorium of the media college. Actually, Xia Qian only wanted to invite the reporters. But the front row of the auditorium was filled with reporters. The back and the second floor were filled with students who had heard about the news. It was crowded outside. The handsome mayor's influence was so high. Yi Er stood outside the auditorium and was shocked when she saw so many people. She suddenly felt nervous. She had never seen such a scene before. She wanted to escape. She did not expect there to be so many people. Weren't they all reporters? But can she escape? The invitation was sent under her name. If she did not go, what would happen to Xia Qian? If she admitted that she sent the invitation and did not go, she would be going back on her words. If she denied it, Xia Qian would become the target of public criticism. Luckily, she was wrapped tightly in her jacket. Other than thinking she was slightly taller, no one noticed her. She switched on her phone and called Xia Qian before she saw the incoming message. Qian, I'm here. Where are you? Xia Qian asked. I'm at the flower bed opposite the auditorium. There are too many people there. I'm afraid I can't hear you calling. Yi Er turned around and went to look for Xia Qian. Xia Qian's clothes were very white. In Xia Qian's words, a hard-working girl like her had to choose clothes that were dirty. Yi Er saw Xia Qian in a dirty black down jacket. She waved at her. Turn around. I'm at the fountain. Xia Qian turned around. Yi Er was waving at her from the fountain outside the auditorium. They hung up the phone. You're so fast. Have you thought of what to say? Xia Qian held onto Yi Er's arm. Yi Er was wearing high heels today and was taller than her. Once again, she hated genetics. Why were there so many people who could mutate, but it was so difficult for her to mutate? I haven't decided yet. I'm a little scared to go. Yi Er stopped timidly and turned around to look at Xia Qian. Xia Qian thought to herself, you're not my boyfriend, so why should I look up to you? Damn it. Don't you know how to wear heels when you come looking for me today? Since he was so tall, why was he standing here instead of being an electric pole? Thinking about it was one thing, but he couldn't say it out loud. Idiots weren't stupid. What's wrong with you? You asked me to find someone to hold a press conference for you. Haven't you thought of what to say? Yunyi, are you trying to kill me? I haven't even graduated yet. How am I going to survive in this industry in the future? Let me tell you, if you let what happened today affect my future employment, you have to compensate me immediately. Otherwise, I won't let you off. How will it affect your future employment? Yi Er felt that she should relax a little and talk about something else. She didn't pull down the scarf around her face. She felt that the fabric around her mouth was a little damp after she spoke. Think about it. I'm from the School of Communication. Today, these people are all trying to pull strings with my classmates. Even the teachers and the head of the school are saying that Xia Qian dug up the news and that I'm going to be famous. But you're telling me, but now, they're saying that I don't dare to go. You want me to take my diploma and go to the television station to look for a job? Do you think they'll hire someone like me, who's so dumb, to be a news anchor? You know that you're dumb, but you still want to be a news anchor? You're asking for a beating. Xia Qian said fiercely. Although she said that, she knew that Yi Er was afraid. She had always thought of herself as an older sister. As an older sister, she had to be as capable as her older sister and be able to protect her younger sister. Yi Er, let me tell you, don't be afraid later. You just have to deal with that adulterous couple. You're the victim. If you get a divorce, you'll get a lot of money. When Xia Qian saw the newspaper, she was furious. How could Jiang Zhao not treat Yi Er as his wife? How was he going to continue living like this? The newspaper said that he and Ouyang Yan had a deep relationship. If Jiang Zhao got together with that despicable Ouyang Yan in the future and transferred their assets, Yi Er would be the one to lose out. Divorce was always a woman's loss. Not to mention the relationship, if she was labeled as a divorcee, it would be different for her to find a husband in the future. It didn't matter if men got divorced. This was no longer considered news in the media industry. So the best way was to get the money that she deserved. She was even consulting Yi Er with her lawyer. She was determined not to lose to that adulterous couple. Yi Er was taken aback. What? Divorce? No, she wasn't here to get a divorce. What did Xia Qian want? Did she want her to get a divorce because of this news? I don't want a divorce. I won't get a divorce. Qian, I'm not holding this press conference to get a divorce. I'm trying to save this marriage. Are you mistaken? Yi Er's eyes peeked out from under the scarf. Her voice wasn't loud because she was suppressing the urge to shout, but her eyes were slightly red. She had been red the entire time. She was nervous, guilty, and fearful. She wanted to fight for it, but she was afraid that Ouyang Yan would beat her back. This forced her to turn red. You don't want a divorce? You've seen them in this state and you still don't want a divorce? Yi Er, don't say that I look down on you. Jiang Zhao's family background is not bad, but you can't ruin your life for his family background. How old are you? You have a future ahead of you. What if he's sleeping in the same bed as you and running to another woman? What if you're old? What will you do? Qian, he didn't. I was there both times. I don't know why, but I have a feeling that someone is trying to mess with him. Really? Why would I lie to you? Xia Qian looked seriously into Yi Er's eyes. She wasn't good at reading people's minds. Most of the time, her reactions were a little slow and she would come up with some fallacious reasoning. That was why many of her classmates had signed internships, but she couldn't. After looking at Yi Er for a long time, she still couldn't understand what her eyes meant. She felt that this woman was so anxious that she was about to cry. Forget it. You're my friend. You can do whatever you want. Anyway, I'll support you no matter what you do. Xia Qian pulled Yi Er away from the crowd and went around to the back door. They entered the auditorium from the back door. Did you discuss this with Jiang Zhao before you held the press conference? No. She wasn't going to discuss it with him. He probably wanted this matter to blow up. She wanted to be the first to act and cut off these people's escape route. Xia Qian once again pulled Yi Er back. Oh my God, Yunyi, are you trying to play me to death? I'm done playing. I feel like my future is going to be ruined because of you. I don't care. I can't get a divorce anyway. Yi Er's scalp hardened. She tore off her scarf, wrapped it tightly around herself, and stuffed it into her big bag. She took out her phone, and her face appeared on the black screen. She used the screen to tidy her hair. She was supposed to tie her hair up today to look more energetic, but there was a bandage on the back of her head. She had to let her hair down and wear a hat to cover it. Xia Qian sighed. Yunyi, you can take my place in the future. I'm not as stupid as you. You're the stupidest woman. Yi Er rolled her eyes at Xia Qian. I'm already worthy of my ancestors by being a stupidest woman. I'm already worthy of you by not being crazy. Xia Qian was stunned. Okay. I won't talk about you anymore. Go. I'll protect you. She then patted her chest. Yi Er looked at her coldly. Stop it. If you take any more pictures, you'll lose all your A's. Xia Qian was about to curse when Yi Er turned around and walked towards the podium from backstage. The stairs were covered with an old red carpet. The texture was not good, and it was only used to prevent slipperiness. When one stepped on it, it felt as if they were not stepping on solid ground. One could hear someone checking the microphone, and the sound of tapping echoed. There were also sharp screams in the air. Lifting the dark red velvet curtain of the side door, the auditorium was as bright as the sky. Yi Er took a deep breath. The sound of the camera shutters was like a thunderstorm. In an instant, the camera flashes came crashing down on her like lightning. Yi Er knew that she had no way out. The front was flat and open, and the lights were brilliant. Although there was a red carpet behind her, there were stairs at every step. It was dark and dangerous. So, she had no choice but to move forward or retreat. Everyone yearned for a better life. A better life. Although there was pain, there was calculation, there was exploitation, and there was no other choice. But what he gave her was stability, happiness, warmth, and a complete family. Yi Er's mouth slowly widened. She knew that her expression, her gaze, and her actions were all criticized. So, she was Mrs. Jiang. She had to be able to make people speechless in front of everyone. She had an outstanding husband. Her husband was her role model. She thought about the scene when she chased the robbers into a dead end. He had descended like a god to save her and protect her. She had clung to him like a little Pekingese and begged him to take her back to the rundown neighborhood. He and she were enemies, but he was willing to let go of their former enmity and carry her upstairs because of the injury on her foot. She felt that he had always been kind, and she was the one who was too vicious. He had saved her from Zhuang Yichen and hid her in his apartment. He had saved her from the car that was about to hit her and sent her back. He did not want to have anything to do with her. She had repaid kindness with ingratitude. She had schemed, used, and snatched the position of Mrs. Jiang from the woman he loved deeply. In fact, other than not loving her, he had always been good to her. Not many women could live a stable life like her. Jiang Zhao had been very good to her, very good. Thinking about this, the corners of her mouth widened. Her eyes were filled with gentle and happy ripples. The camera shutters captured the beauty of the woman with the red curtains. It was as if she could feel the first ray of light at dawn. Yi Er stepped forward with a smile on her face. She walked gracefully to the podium in the middle of the rostrum. Listening to the chaotic sound of the camera shutters, Yi Er recited Jiang Zhao's name to calm herself down. Yi Er patted the microphone, and it rang twice. Yi Er adjusted her hat and tried to speak slowly so that she would appear more elegant and worthy of her husband, Jiang Zhao. She only spoke with her own unique sense of humor, not allowing herself to appear overly reserved. Hello, everyone. After a simple opening speech, Yi Er politely nodded to the audience. The sound of the camera shutters became more intense for a short while. Jiang Zhao held his phone and heard his wife's voice. Hello, everyone. I'm Yi Er, Jiang Zhao's wife. You can call me Mrs. Jiang. My friends from the media, please take prettier photos of me. However, digital cameras don't waste film. You can choose prettier photos and publish them to satisfy my vanity, which is a love for beauty. Yi Er's eyes flashed with a bright light. Her eyes curved with a teasing smile. Even the monotonous tone of her voice changed slightly. But tomorrow's headlines don't have Mrs. Zhang's vanity to the extreme. Then I'll remember the names of the reporters and editors in the newspaper. Then I'll find your children and ask them, darling, do your parents always lie to you? Welfare, Hongcha 866.